Chapter 35-24. Impossible. If I don't destroy your cultivation, I can only send you to accompany my second brother. The first prince said coldly. In the barbarian tribe, the second prince and the fifth prince had great power and had won over a large number of experts. As long as the fifth prince was not dead or still had his cultivation, he would be a potential threat to his position. He would not allow this to happen. Fifth prince, let's go. Let's leave this place first before we come up with a countermeasure. At this moment, the elder behind the fifth prince transmitted his voice to him. Then, a force wrapped around the fifth prince and took him to the sky in an attempt to escape. Trying to escape? Take them down and kill them without mercy. The first prince roared. Tian and the other boundary emperor were already prepared. They had their eyes on the fifth prince and the boundary emperor beside him. As soon as the other party moved, they moved as well. Their speed was amazing and they caught up in an instant. Two terrifying attacks were launched at the fifth prince and the elder. The elder roared and used all his strength to fight back. However, he was alone after all. It was difficult for him to fight against two experts. After exchanging one blow, he retreated and his face turned pale. You guys, come and help me. The elder roared at the fifth prince's subordinates. Among those people, there were ninth and eighth realm divine lords. If they were to help, they would be able to hold Tian and the rest back for a while so that they could escape. The fifth prince's subordinates were hesitant. Now that the situation had been decided, if they were to take action, they would be going against the first prince. They would not have a good ending. With this hesitation, the first prince's subordinates rushed over and surrounded these people, leaving them no room to attack. In the sky, Tian and the elder continued to attack. The two of them were fighting against one person. Moreover, the other party was carrying the fifth prince and had to protect him. They were no match for them. Even if they tried their best to resist, it would be difficult to fight back. After barely blocking more than 10 blows, he was hit and coughed up blood. Old Wu, hold them back. I'll go first. The fifth prince roared and flew backward, allowing the elder to block Tian and the elder. Unfortunately, in such a situation, he would only die faster if he left Old Wu's protection. Boom boom. The three boundary emperors exchanged another blow. Old Wu retreated and his injuries worsened. Moreover, the terrifying energy swept out in all directions. A few of the energy surged towards the fifth prince at an astonishing speed. No, no. The fifth prince roared in fright as he tried his best to block the attack. However, this was the energy produced by the battle between three quasi-emperors. How could he withstand it? The force swept over, and the fifth prince did not even have the chance to scream before he exploded, his body and soul destroyed. Forget it. With the fifth prince dead, Old Wu let out a long sigh and finally stopped resisting. Tian continuously tapped his body, sealing his cultivation. Just like that, the second prince and the fifth prince were defeated. The outcome has been decided. It seems that the eldest prince is more powerful. He actually managed to win over Tian. That's right. With two quasi-emperors helping him, he defeated the other two princes at lightning speed. Good moves. The throne of the Berserker Emperor will belong to him. Many people were discussing this matter. As for the first prince, his face was filled with joy and he was in high spirits. He stood high up in the sky and looked down at everyone. His voice rang out, "Now, I've inherited the position of the barbarian emperor. Is there anyone else who has any objections?" The scene was dead silent. Since there are no objections, let's begin the coronation ceremony. Today, I'm the barbarian emperor. The first prince said loudly. Wait a minute. However, at that moment, a discordant voice rang out. The first prince's face turned gloomy as he looked in a direction. That was where the eighth prince was standing. It was the eighth prince who had spoken earlier. "Eighth brother, what do you mean by asking me to wait a minute?" A cold light flashed in the first prince's eyes as he stared at the eighth prince. The eighth prince's face turned pale. He was still afraid of the first prince. However, when he thought of Tian, the master of Sky Barbarian, Lu Ming, and the others standing behind him, his courage was boosted. Everyone wanted the throne of the barbarian emperor, and he was no exception. In the past, he did not have the strength and backing to fight for it. Now that he had the strength to fight for it, why not? "I don't think it's appropriate for eldest brother to be the barbarian emperor." The eighth prince took a deep breath and spoke. As soon as he said that, the scene fell into dead silence. Many people sucked in a breath of cold air and looked at the eighth prince in horror. What's wrong with the eighth prince? Is he courting death? Didn't he see what happened to the second prince and the fifth prince? At this time, the eighth prince still dared to say such words. Is he crazy? Or is he tired of living? The first prince narrowed his eyes and exuded a cold murderous intent. "Eighth brother, you said that I'm not suitable to be the barbarian emperor. Who do you think is suitable to be the barbarian emperor?" The first prince said coldly. Everyone could hear the murderous intent in his voice. "Me." The eighth prince replied. The scene fell silent again. Everyone looked at the eighth prince as if he was a fool. What did the eighth prince say? He's suitable to be the barbarian emperor? He's crazy. He's really crazy. The eighth prince, who is not talented enough and has no support, wants to be the barbarian emperor? Is this a joke? Or is he tired of living? The first prince's face darkened. His murderous intent was extremely cold. Ha ha ha. In the end, the first prince laughed from extreme anger and said, "Eighth brother, originally, you just need to enjoy life properly. A trash like you, I can't be bothered to touch you either. Unfortunately, you're tired of living and want to come out and court death yourself. Then I'll fulfill your wish. You, send eighth brother on his way." The first prince instructed a subordinate. That subordinate was a ninth-level divine lord existence. He was also a pinnacle figure in the barbarian race. Killing an eighth prince did not require a quasi-emperor to take action. Swoosh! That ninth-level divine lord powerhouse's figure flashed, charging toward the eighth prince. His speed was swift to an astonishing extent. Beside the eighth prince, sitting there was Lu Ming. Without even needing Lu Ming to open his mouth, Zhu Tai beside Lu Ming made a move. Bang! Zhu Tai smacked a palm out, exchanging a move with the other party. A terrifying explosion sounded out. That subordinate of the first prince was blocked, his figure drifting backward. This made the first prince's eyes narrow slightly. Ninth-level divine lord, eighth brother, looks like you have experts around you too. No wonder you dare to talk to me like this. But wanting to compete with me with just a ninth-level divine lord, it's truly too naive. The first prince said. Who said that there's only one ninth-level divine lord? At this time, Lu Ming's indifferent voice sounded out, attracting many people's gazes. However, Lu Ming and the rest were wearing black robes. This kind of black robes material was special, others could not see through them immediately. A divine king realm trash, is it your turn to speak here? The first prince said coldly. Then what about us? Giant Bear and the rest gave a light cry, all taking a step out, standing in front of Lu Ming. Following that, powerful auras erupted from their bodies. A terrifying pressure filled the air. Chapter 35-25. The aura of Giant Bear and the others burst out. It was like a mountain that stood between heaven and earth. The terrifying pressure made many people's faces change drastically. Boundary Emperor, how do you have a Boundary Emperor? The eldest prince's face changed drastically as he roared in disbelief. His eighth brother had always been incompetent. How could he have a boundary emperor by his side? Not only were there boundary emperors, but there were also as many as 5 ninth-level divine lords. This was a terrifying force. The others around were also shocked. Their hearts were in turmoil. Eldest brother, you're not the only one who can have a boundary emperor following you. I have one too. The eighth prince's face was filled with confidence. Hee, eighth brother, it seems that everyone has underestimated you. However, with just one boundary emperor and 5 ninth-level divine lords, do you think you can compete with me? Didn't you see what happened to second brother and fifth brother? Also, you're really stupid. You only jumped out now. If I were you, I would have taken action earlier to fight me with fifth brother and second brother. That way, there would still be a glimmer of hope. The eldest prince sneered, his face full of ridicule. Finally, he waved his hand and said coldly, "Send eighth brother on his way." As soon as the eldest prince's voice fell, the boundary emperor who had defected to him moved. His figure was like lightning as he charged towards the eighth prince. However, Giant Bear roared angrily and slammed his paw against the boundary emperor. Both of them swayed and retreated slightly. However, Tian remained motionless. The eldest prince frowned and said, Tian, why aren't you attacking? If I attacked, you would already be dead. Tian said lightly. What? Hearing this, the eldest prince's hair stood on end. He quickly retreated and stared at Tian. What did you say? Ha, eldest brother, didn't you hear what Marshal Tian said? Then let me tell you. Marshal Tian is my man. Do you understand? What? As soon as these words were spoken, the entire place exploded. Everyone was dumbfounded. Tian was actually the eighth prince's man. Then why was he by the eldest prince's side and helping him deal with the second prince and fifth prince? Tian, you traitor! The eldest prince roared. Traitor? From the very beginning, I had sided with the eighth prince. The reason why I agreed to your request was because I wanted to borrow your strength to deal with the second prince and the fifth prince. Tian sneered. Everyone suddenly understood. So that was how it was. Tian first borrowed the eldest prince's power to deal with the second prince and the fifth prince. Then, he helped the eighth prince deal with the eldest prince. What a profound scheme. The first prince's expression was extremely ugly. The figures of his subordinates flashed as they surrounded the first prince to protect him. All right. Tian, eighth brother, I have really underestimated you. The mantis stalks the cicada, unaware of the oriole behind. Instead, I have become the mantis. However, although you have 2 quasi-emperors, the outcome of today's battle remains to be seen. The first prince bellowed and slowly regained his composure. Although the eighth prince had 2 quasi-emperors, he was not afraid because he had more experts by his side. Although he was only a quasi-emperor, he had more 9th level and 8th level divine lord experts. With so many experts working together, they might be able to fight Tian and the others. After all, the 8th prince's foundation was not strong enough. He did not have as many 9th level and 8th level divine lords as he did. What if you include me? At this moment, another faint voice was heard. Then, a group of people stepped out. The leader was the Lord of Sky Barbarian. The others were his subordinates. The Lord of Sky Barbarian led his men to the back of the first prince and blocked his escape route. At this moment, everyone was dumbfounded. The Lord of Sky Barbarian also wanted to intervene and help the 8th prince? Wasn't the Lord of Sky Barbarian neutral all this while? No one could figure it out, including the first prince. His pupils shrank rapidly and his face looked as though he had eaten a dead rat. He looked at the Lord of Sky Barbarian in shock and shouted, Lord of Sky Barbarian, you are also one of the 8th brother's men? That's right. The Lord of Sky Barbarian said flatly. You, the first prince roared. He could not figure out why these experts were helping the 8th prince. Why? Eldest brother, destroy your own cultivation and I will spare your life. The 8th prince said flatly. Don't even think about destroying my cultivation. Don't even think about it. Kill. Kill. Kill this bastard. Kill him. The first prince roared crazily with a ferocious face. However, the eyes of his subordinates flickered. There were 3 quasi-emperors around the 8th prince. The disparity in power was too great. If they were to fight, they would be in grave danger. They were only helping the first prince because of his wealth. There was no need for them to die with the first prince. 8th prince, I am willing to pledge allegiance to you. Prince, me too. I am willing to pledge my loyalty to you. A few silhouettes left the first prince's side and bowed to the 8th prince. You traitors. The first prince's eyes were red and he was furious. In the end, he roared, I will kill all of you traitors. Having said that, he pounced on those people. However, the figures of those people flashed and avoided the first prince. First prince, admit defeat. At this moment, the quasi-emperor who had pledged allegiance to the first prince let out a long sigh. The first prince froze and trembled as though he had been electrocuted. Ha ha ha, you want me to surrender? You want me to destroy my cultivation? Impossible. I would rather die than destroy my cultivation. 8th brother, let's fight to the death. The first prince laughed and charged towards the 8th prince. The dazzling sword light went straight for the 8th prince's glabella. However, Tian and the others were beside him. How could the first prince kill the 8th prince? Stubborn. I have no choice but to send you on your way. Tian said coldly as he threw a punch. The terrifying fist force made the crown prince scream in pain. His body retreated like a scarecrow and fell heavily to the ground, coughing up blood. He was severely injured and no longer had the strength to fight. However, Tian did not kill the first prince. He could not kill the first prince and could only leave it to the 8th prince. 8th prince, since the first prince wants to die, let's fulfill his wish. Tian said. Hesitation flashed in the 8th prince's eyes. Finally, he gritted his teeth and took a step forward. A long sword appeared in his hand. He pierced the first prince's glabella and killed him. At this point, the first prince, second prince, and 5th prince, the 3 princes who were most likely to compete for the throne, had all fallen. Everyone's gaze fell on the 8th prince. Unexpectedly, the 8th prince, who had been ignored at the beginning, became the one who succeeded in the end. This was beyond everyone's expectations. Greetings, barbaric emperor. Tian was the first to bow. Greetings, barbaric emperor. Then, the Sky Barbarian Overlord and the others followed suit. The others reacted and bowed as well. Chapter 35-26. Lu Ming smiled. If the 8th prince ascended the throne and became the barbarian emperor, he would at least have the support of some of the barbarian tribe experts if there were any changes in the Taishu dynasty in the future. This was extremely beneficial to him. In this way, the barbarian tribe would not only not be his enemy but also his helper. At the critical moment, he would probably be able to give his enemies a huge surprise. After that, Lu Ming and the others had nothing to do. It was nothing more than the 8th prince ascending the throne and becoming the barbarian emperor. After that, they would hold important meetings. 3 days later, Lu Ming led Giant Bear and the others to bid farewell to Tian. This time, Blue Merchant planned to return to the Taishu dynasty with Lu Ming. Of course, they could not do so openly. They had to return secretly. Yi Tian wanted to follow Lu Ming. However, the new barbarian emperor had just ascended the throne. Yi Tian had to stay to stabilize the barbarian emperor and make him obedient. This way, they could borrow the power of the barbarian tribe in the future. Lu Ming left with the others without alerting anyone. They returned to the hidden dragon star quietly. After a while, peace was restored. Lu Ming sent people to search for news of his parents while cultivating. The Dark Ape fighting tribe also stepped up their cultivation of the primitive divine body and made great progress. Time passed quickly. In the blink of an eye, 100 years had passed. In the backyard of the hidden dragon star, Lu Ming and Blue Merchant were drinking wine. Lan Shu, I have a question that I have always been curious about. Lu Ming took a sip of wine and asked. What is it? Blue Merchant said. Since the last time I went to the barbarian tribe, I feel that the strength of the barbarian tribe is far from that of the Taishu dynasty at its peak. Lu Ming said. In addition to those hidden resources, the barbarian tribe only had 5 quasi-emperors on the surface. Including the former barbarian emperor, there were only 6 quasi-emperors. However, Yi Tian was not a barbarian. He belonged to the Taishu dynasty. According to what Lu Ming knew, there were more than 6 quasi-emperors in the Taishu dynasty. Especially when Jingyu was still alive, Yi Tian also belonged to the Taishu dynasty. In addition, it was said that Jingyu had also reached the quasi-emperor realm. Their overall strength was stronger than the barbarians. That's right. When Jingyu was still alive, the strength of the Taishu dynasty reached its peak. It was indeed much stronger than the barbarian tribe. It could even destroy the barbarian tribe. However, because the Taishu dynasty was too strong, the Tianyi sacred dynasty and the barbarian tribe formed an alliance to fight against the Taishu dynasty. Blue Merchant said. I see. Lu Ming nodded. No wonder the Taishu dynasty, which was so powerful, did not destroy the barbarian race. It turned out that the barbarian race and the Tianyi sacred dynasty had formed an alliance. Later, when the Taishu dynasty weakened, the alliance between the Tianyi sacred dynasty and the barbarian tribe was dissolved. In this way, the 3 forces always maintained a balance. Uncle Lan, was Prince Jingyu really at the quasi-emperor realm? Lu Ming asked curiously. That's right. Prince Jingyu was the youngest quasi-emperor in the history of the Taishu dynasty. His combat strength was unparalleled. He was the real number 1 expert in the Taishu dynasty. Even the current sacred emperor was no match for him. Blue Merchant said with nostalgia in his eyes. The number 1 expert. Lu Ming frowned and said, since Prince Jingyu was so strong, how could he be killed later? As long as he resisted, no one in the Taishu dynasty could kill him. Prince Jingyu was a peerless genius. He was invincible among those of the same level. Such a person could even fight those of a higher level. Even if there were more experts of the same level besieging him, it was impossible to kill him. Lu Ming was puzzled. Sigh, it's all because of that woman, the current sacred imperial concubine, Kong Shishue. Lan Shang gave a long sigh. Sacred imperial concubine? Lan Shu, what happened back then? Lu Ming asked. He had only heard rumors that Prince Jingyu had violated the sacred imperial concubine and met with misfortune. Lu Ming, now that you have great power, it's time to tell you. Blue Merchant paused for a moment and continued, in fact, the sacred imperial concubine and Jingyu were lovers at the beginning. They were truly in love and were regarded as a golden couple by everyone. What? Lu Ming was stunned. His mouth was wide open and he looked incredulous. This result was really out of Lu Ming's expectations. He never thought that the sacred imperial concubine was Jingyu's lover at the beginning. However, Jingyu went into seclusion to break through to the next level. He went into seclusion for 1,000 years. When he came out, Kong Shishue had already become the sacred imperial concubine. That was a huge blow to Jingyu. Moreover, Jingyu's cultivation had not reached the great accomplishment stage and he could not resist. When Lan Shang sat up to hear, he let out another long sigh. Lu Ming was also silent. He could understand how big of a blow that was to Jingyu. In one seclusion, his former lover had become his mother. What a cliché. Could it be that Jingyu really violated the sacred imperial concubine? Lu Ming could not help but have this thought. The sacred imperial concubine was Jingyu's first lover. It was not impossible that he could not let go of her. If that was the case, how could the case be overturned? Don't think too much. Blue Merchant seemed to have seen through Lu Ming's thoughts and immediately said, I know Jingyu very well. He is definitely not that kind of person and would never do such a thing. Jingyu must have been framed back then. They were caught red-handed by the sacred imperial concubine. The sacred imperial concubine was furious and attacked directly. Jingyu did not even have time to react before he was severely injured. Otherwise, no one in the Taishu dynasty could have killed him. If someone framed Prince Jingyu, then the sacred imperial concubine must be involved. After so many years, has no one confronted the sacred imperial concubine? Lu Ming asked. I have thought about this for a long time, but the sacred imperial concubine has been living in seclusion all these years. Ordinary people can't see her at all. Moreover, the matter between the sacred imperial concubine and Jingyu has become a taboo. No one dares to mention it. I have tried many times to see the sacred imperial concubine, but I was stopped. Blue Merchant sighed. It seems that if we want to overturn the case, we have to start with the sacred imperial concubine. She probably knows all the secrets. Lu Ming said, but he frowned. How could he meet the sacred imperial concubine? And how could he make her reveal the secrets? The sacred imperial concubine had abandoned Jingyu and married the sacred emperor. Later on, she had framed Jingyu. This showed how vicious this woman was. It was almost impossible to get her to reveal the secrets herself. I'm afraid that the sacred imperial concubine wasn't the only one who did that. There must be other conspirators behind the scenes. Blue Merchant said. Crown Prince. Lu Ming immediately thought of the Crown Prince. Back then, Jingyu was too outstanding and seriously threatened the Crown Prince's position. The Crown Prince had 100 reasons to frame Jingyu. It's hard to say. I have secretly investigated these years, but I haven't made much progress. Blue Merchant said. The main reason was that his cultivation was crippled and he did not have much strength. After chatting with Blue Merchant for a while, Lu Ming fell into deep thought. He slowly sorted out the information he had just received and organized his thoughts. There must be a big secret in this matter. Chapter 35-27. In the beginning, the imperial concubine Kong Shishue and Jingyu were lovers. Then, after Jingyu went into seclusion, Kong Shishue married the imperial concubine. Later on, when Jingyu's cultivation reached a high level, he was framed and caught by the imperial concubine. The imperial concubine attacked and injured Jingyu severely. Something must have happened. Otherwise, with Jingyu's cultivation, how could he not fight back and be severely injured? Could it be that Jingyu was seriously injured because he saw the imperial concubine suddenly arrive? Or was there another reason? After Jingyu was severely injured, Jingyu's forces were besieged by the imperial concubine. Some were killed, some were sealed, and some escaped. Even Blue Merchant Star Corps was destroyed. However, Jingyu's subordinates were certain that Jingyu was wrongly accused. This was because Blue Merchant said that after Jingyu was severely injured, he was executed in public. However, at the crucial moment, Jingyu sent a message to Blue Merchant, saying that he was wrongly accused. This sentence was enough for him. Blue Merchant and the others firmly believed that Jing Yu was wrongly accused because they knew Jing Yu's character too well. Therefore, they wanted to overturn Jing Yu's case. I'm afraid there's a deep secret in this matter. How should we proceed? Lu Ming rubbed his forehead, feeling a headache coming on. Now, his cultivation had reached the peak of the 9th layer of the Divine King realm. He was not far from the Divine Lord realm. Back then, Xian Yanqing had asked Hong Yang to leave him a jade talisman. The talisman said that the location of Xian Yanqing's group was sealed in it. As long as Lu Ming's cultivation reached the Divine Lord realm, he would be able to break the seal and find out the location of Xian Yanqing's group. Also, Autumn Moon might have gone to the Divine Dragon Mother planet. He had to search for her. However, he had promised Jing Yu that it would be difficult for him to leave until the matter of the Taishu dynasty was resolved. Therefore, the matter of the Taishu dynasty had to be resolved as soon as possible. Taishu dynasty, Imperial Palace. Congratulations, Imperial Father. I did not let you down and found the Twin Life Stone. As long as you refine the Twin Life Stone, you may break through to the Divine Emperor realm and enjoy 100 stellar years of life. The second prince bowed to the Taishu Sage Emperor, holding a jade box in his hand. At this moment, the Great Void Saint Emperor was extremely excited. Divine power burst forth, and the jade box in the second prince's hand appeared in his hand. Taishu opened the jade box. There was a stone the size of the Twin Life. This piece of rock had 2 colors, and multicolored light constantly flowed on it. It was incomparably magical. Twin Life Stone, is this the legendary Twin Life Stone? The Taishu Sacred Emperor's breathing quickened. There was a peerless treasure in this world called the 3 Lives Stone. This was the life had 3 lifetimes of the 3 lifetimes of the divine heavens. Was life was life was life was living was life. Of course, the Twin Life Stone was not the 3 Life Stone. Legend had it that it was a companion item to the 3 Life Stone, but it was also extremely rare. This was a treasure that could only be found by chance. It was 10,000 times more valuable than the divine pearls. Good. You have done a great service this time. The Taishu Sacred Emperor praised the 3 Life Stone. For someone like him who was nearing the end of his lifespan, nothing was more tempting than the Twin Life Stone. Ever since he had lived 10 stellar years of life, he could clearly feel that he was getting weaker and weaker. No matter how many spiritual pills and precious treasures he used, it was useless. His soul was shrinking and drying up day by day. If this continued, he would not be able to hold on for another 200 years before he disappeared. 200 years was just a blink of an eye to them. During this time, he had become more and more irritable. Imperial Father, the Twin Life Stone is not the 3 Life Stone. It has a great drawback. After refining it, there is only a 50% success rate. Once you succeed, you will be able to live another life and even have a breakthrough in your cultivation. However, if you fail, you will completely fall and vanish into thin air. The second prince bowed and said, even if there is only a 50% success rate, we have to give it a try. The Taishu Sacred Emperor's eyes were burning. How could he not know about the drawbacks of the Twin Life Stone? However, if he did not try, he would die. If he succeeded, he would break through to the Divine Emperor realm and become a true Divine Emperor. Not only would he be extremely powerful, but his lifespan would also reach 100 stellar years. One had to know that since the establishment of the Taishu dynasty, it had only been 50 stellar years. How long was that? Even if there was only a 10% chance of success, he had to give it a try, let alone a 50% success rate. Then let me congratulate Imperial Father in advance for your successful breakthrough. The second prince bowed and said, Good. You may leave. I will study it first. The Taishu Sacred Emperor waved his hand. The second prince left. Not long after, in the depths of the second prince's residence. "Second prince, did you really give His Majesty the twin life stone?" one of the second prince's trusted aides asked. This person was an old man in a yellow robe. "The real twin life stone? How is that possible? This kind of treasure is extremely rare. If I had the real twin life stone, why would I give it to that old man?" The second prince smiled faintly. "It's fake? If the divine emperor finds out about it, I'm afraid it will be detrimental to the second prince." The yellow-robed old man's expression changed drastically. "Don't worry. I know that old man too well. The success rate of refining the twin life stone is only 50%. There is a great risk involved. Therefore, before refining the twin life stone, the old man will definitely do one thing. That is to remove all of the clan residences and control all of the Taishu dynasty's territory. This has always been the old man's wish. He wants to be the divine emperor. However, once he removes the clan residences, it will definitely cause a wave of internal strife. If he does this normally, it will cause too much of a stir and it will be detrimental to the Taishu dynasty. However, this is a great opportunity. The barbarian emperor has fallen, and the barbarian race is in chaos. They won't be able to attack us for the time being. This is the best opportunity to remove the clan residences. If he fails to refine the twin life stone, he can still be the divine emperor, right?" the second prince said. "Second prince, you're saying that the heavenly king's residences and marquises' residences won't be willing to be removed and will rise up in revolt. However, with their strength, they won't be able to contend against the divine emperor," the yellow-robed old man said. "Of course. However, isn't there still my big brother?" The second prince smiled faintly. "The crown prince?" The yellow-robed old man's eyes flickered. "My big brother has been coveting the divine emperor's position for many years. He has been waiting for a long time. Finally, the old man's lifespan is nearing its end. However, if he finds out that the old man has obtained the twin life stone and has a 50% chance of entering the divine emperor realm, what do you think he will do?" The second prince smiled as if he had the pearl of wisdom in his hand. The yellow-robed old man's eyes lit up. "Even if there's only a 50% chance of success, the crown prince won't take the risk. Because once the divine emperor succeeds, the crown prince will completely lose the throne. So, he will fight with all his might and rebel? Ha ha ha, so send someone to secretly inform my big brother. The Taishu dynasty will soon have a great show. That will be our chance. The divine emperor's position will be mine." The second prince laughed loudly. Chapter 35-28. The second prince had been planning for this day for a long time. He couldn't wait until the sage emperor reached the end of his lifespan. If that happened, the crown prince would naturally inherit the sage emperor's position. Moreover, once the crown prince inherited the throne, he would definitely not let him off. Therefore, he had to stir up the situation. A fake twin life stone could successfully stir the water into a pot of porridge. That would be his chance. Come, let the storm come even fiercer. The second prince revealed an expectant and sinister smile. Not long after, in the crown prince's residence, twin life stone, damn it, damn it. The crown prince roared, his eyes red. He had just found out through a secret channel that the second prince had found a twin life stone for the Taishu sage emperor. Although the twin life stone only had a 50% success rate, he couldn't accept it. A 50% success rate was already a very high success rate. Let alone 50%, even if the success rate was only 10%, he still wouldn't accept it. What if the Taishu sage emperor succeeded? What would he do then? Could he only be the crown prince for the rest of his life until he died of old age? Unless he could break through to the divine emperor realm, but with his talent, it was basically impossible without a miracle. Old man, I wanted to let you live for a few hundred more years so that you could leave peacefully. I didn't expect you to insist on causing trouble. You're courting death. Don't blame me for being ruthless. The crown prince's eyes flashed with shocking killing intent. 3 days later, the confidants of the sacred emperor left the great void sacred capital and headed to the residences of the heavenly kings, marquises, generals, and soldiers to pass on an order. The Taishu sage emperor had summoned all the lords of the heavenly kings' residences, marquises' residences, generals' residences, and soldiers' residences to the Taishu sacred capital. Strange, didn't the sage emperor's birthday banquet just end? Why are they going again? Many of the lords were surprised when they received the order. Almost all the lords had attended the sage emperor's birthday banquet. How many years had it been? Why was the sage emperor summoning them to the Taishu sacred capital? Of course, since the sage emperor had given the order, they had to go. Many lords began to move. As for Lu Ming, he naturally received the order from the king and was also shocked. Strange, I feel that something bad is going to happen this time. Lu Ming frowned. His spiritual sense told him that something big was going to happen this time. I once heard from Jingyu that the Taishu Saint Emperor has always had a wish, which is to remove all the clan residences and unify all the territories under the control of the royal family. Right now, the sacred emperor's time is almost up. Before he dies, he might really do it. Besides, the Berserker Emperor has just died not too long ago, and the internal structure of the Berserker tribe is not stable yet. This is a good chance. Lan Shang carefully speculated. Uncle Lan, are you saying that the Saint Emperor will eliminate all of the clan residences? But Lan Shang said. Just in case, send a message to Yi Tian and ask him to come to the Taishu Sacred Court. Although he had brought many experts from the Lost Galaxy, there was only one boundary emperor. To be on the safe side, he wanted Yi Tian to come with him to the Taishu sacred capital. 2 boundary emperors should be enough to protect themselves. Of course, he thought of the Undying Demon Lord. The Undying Demon Lord was at least a boundary emperor. Maybe even higher. Lu Ming even speculated that the Undying Demon Lord was a real divine emperor. One had to know that the Saint Devil dynasty was a country before the Taishu Sacred Dynasty, and the Taishu Sacred Dynasty had been established for about 50 stellar years. Even if the Undying Demon King was sealed, he could still survive from the Saint Devil dynasty until now. Could a quasi-emperor do that? Only a divine emperor could do that. If the Demon King was not a divine emperor, even if he had been sealed for a long time and his vitality was greatly damaged, he would have recovered some of his battle strength after breaking the seal for a long time. He would definitely be a great helper if he was not a divine emperor. However, Lu Ming felt that it was not the right time for the Undying Demon Lord to appear. The Undying Demon Lord was a big shot. He had to use him at a critical moment. After the message was sent out, Yi Tian rushed over after some time. Of course, he was alone. He could not bring the others along. After Yi Tian arrived, Lu Ming brought Blue Merchant, Giant Bear, Zhu Tai, and the others to the Taishu sacred capital. Yi Tian, Giant Bear, and the others wore thick armor and disguised themselves as Lu Ming's guards. At the same time, they restrained their aura to the extreme. Soon, the Taishu sacred capital was in sight. Who is it? At this moment, Blue Merchant shouted coldly in a direction. His soul power was shining between his eyebrows. Blue Merchant's soul power was extremely strong. Therefore, his spiritual sense was extremely sharp. Even boundary emperors like Yi Tian and Giant Bear could not compare to him in this aspect. His soul power has reached the Sir God level. His spiritual sense is sharp. In the starry sky ahead, there was a ripple and a figure appeared. This figure was wrapped in a black robe and was surrounded by a black fog. Her appearance could not be seen clearly. One could barely make out that the figure was petite and seemed to be a woman. "Who are you? Who sent you?" Lu Ming asked. "You don't need to know who sent me. My master sent me here to tell you that this trip is dangerous." After the other party finished speaking, her figure flashed and disappeared. Lu Ming and the others did not pursue because the other party did not have any ill intentions. She seemed to have good intentions. "This trip is dangerous." The other party left behind these 4 words. Lu Ming and Blue Merchant frowned. Obviously, the other party was reminding them that this trip to the Taishu sacred capital was dangerous. Could it be that this time, as Blue Merchant had guessed, the Saint Emperor was going to eliminate all the clan residences before his death? However, who was this person? Who was the master that she mentioned? Why did she send someone to warn them? It was obvious that she had good intentions. However, Lu Ming had come prepared this time. He had 2 quasi-emperors with him. Even if the Saint Emperor wanted to eliminate the clan residences, he would be able to protect himself. At most, he would just make a fuss and retreat. He did not believe that the Saint Emperor would kill all the clan residences just to eliminate the clan residences. That was impossible. Doing so would shake the foundations of the Taishu dynasty. At most, he would kill a few as a warning to others. Looks like I guessed correctly this time. Blue Merchant frowned. No matter what, if he wants to eliminate the clan residences, let him do it. As long as we have a foothold, it's fine. Lu Ming said. The marquis residences were just a name. Lu Ming did not care. As long as he had power, nothing was more important. Lu Ming and the others continued forward into the Taishu sacred capital. They arrived at the hidden dragon marquis residence and waited. A month later, all the clan residences had arrived at the Taishu sacred capital. Then, the Saint Emperor ordered them to gather in the palace. Chapter 35-29. Behind the palace was a huge courtyard. This was where the sacred emperor usually entertained his guests. Today, it was packed with people. Tables and chairs were placed in different areas. Every heavenly king's residence and marquis residence had their own area. The highest part of the courtyard was where the Great Void Sacred Emperor and the other members of the royal family sat. Below them were the 27 areas. This was where the 27 heavenly kings' residences were located. At the bottom, there were even more tables and chairs. This was where the marquis residence, general residence, and soldier residence were located. Lu Ming brought Yi Tian, Giant Bear, and the others to the hidden dragon residences area and sat down quietly. They waited quietly. Yi Tian, Giant Bear, and the others were wearing armor. They sat behind Lu Ming and did not attract much attention. They were treated as Lu Ming's bodyguards. As time passed, more and more people arrived. Soon, Lu Ming and the others were drowned in the crowd. Half an hour later, everyone arrived. Lu Ming looked around and saw 9 Extinction Heavenly King, 9 Sabers Heavenly King, and the others. However, he did not see 1,000 Holy Old Heavenly King. This was because the Heavenly King of the 1,000 Holy Heavenly King residence was not 1,000 Holy Old Heavenly King. His Majesty has arrived. A sharp voice was heard. The Great Void Sacred Emperor, the Crown Prince, and the others stepped into the air and arrived. So many experts. Lu Ming looked around and saw a group of black-robed men behind the Sacred Emperor. These black-robed men looked calm, but Lu Ming felt a strong sense of danger from them. These people gave him a lot of pressure. The Sacred Emperor arrived and sat at the top. Greetings, Sacred Emperor. Everyone stood up and bowed. After not seeing him for a while, the Great Void Sacred Emperor looked even more lethargic. His eyes were cloudy and he looked like he was going to pass away at any time. Please take a seat. The Great Void Sacred Emperor waved his hand and everyone took their seats. Everyone, please drink. The Great Void Sacred Emperor raised his wine glass and took a sip. Everyone was filled with doubts. They did not know why the Taishu Saint Emperor had called them here. However, they could only suppress the doubts in their hearts and raise their wine cups to take a sip. After the Saint Emperor took a sip, his eyes lit up. At this moment, the Taishu Saint Emperor was no longer lethargic. Instead, he was like a terrifying beast that had awakened, emitting a terrifying aura. Everyone felt their hearts tighten. The reason why the Sage Emperor had gathered them here was finally going to be revealed. The Great Void Saint Emperor's gaze swept across the entire place, sweeping across everyone. I'm sure you're all curious about why I've suddenly summoned you here. I'll get straight to the point. I've summoned you here because there's a traitor among you. The Great Void Saint Emperor's voice reverberated throughout the area, sounding a little cold. What? Everyone was shocked. Heavenly King Hao Xian, you secretly colluded with the Tianyi Sacred Dynasty and sold a large number of divine artifacts to them. Do you know your crime? Suddenly, the Great Void Sacred Emperor's gaze landed on one of the Heavenly King's manors. Heavenly King Hao Xian was one of the top 8 Heavenly King mansions in the Taishu dynasty. Heavenly King Hao Xian's strength was even more shocking. He was a 9th-level Divine Lord. However, at this moment, Heavenly King Hao Xian's expression changed. He cupped his fists and said, "Your Majesty, there's definitely no such thing. Are you mistaken?" Heavenly King Hao Xian had indeed cooperated with the Tianyi Sacred Dynasty and traded treasures with each other. In fact, many Heavenly King mansions were doing this kind of thing. Everyone was well aware of it, but they could not say it out loud. Otherwise, it would not be good. Since the Great Void Saint Emperor had brought it up, he naturally could not admit it. You're still quibbling. I've already collected enough evidence. Do you want me to show it to you? The Great Void Saint Emperor said coldly. This, Heavenly King Hao Xian began to break out in cold sweat. In the end, he cupped his fists and knelt down. He said, "Your Majesty, I have indeed traded divine artifacts with the Tianyi Sacred Dynasty. However, that was many years ago. Your Majesty, please punish me. Have you finally admitted it? Selling divine artifacts to the Tianyi Sacred Dynasty is a crime of treason. You must be punished. Now, cripple your own cultivation. Also, Heavenly King Hao Xian Mansion does not need to exist in the future. I will send people to guard the territory of Heavenly King Hao Xian Mansion." The Taishu dynasty said lightly. What? As soon as these words came out, the entire place fell into a dead silence. Except for a few people, most people were shocked. He had only sold divine artifacts to the Tianyi Sacred Dynasty, but the Great Void Saint Emperor actually wanted to cripple Heavenly King Hao Xian's cultivation and even remove Heavenly King Hao Xian Mansion from the list. Heavenly King Hao Xian Mansion had existed since the Taishu dynasty was established. It had experienced countless years, but now the Taishu dynasty wanted to remove it with just a few words? Heavenly King Hao Xian was also stunned. His eyes were filled with disbelief. Originally, he thought that even if the Great Void Saint Emperor found out about this kind of thing, he would only be casually punished and hand over some treasures. He never dreamed that the Great Void Saint Emperor would actually want to cripple his cultivation. He was a 9th-level Divine Lord, the top combat power of the Taishu dynasty. Was he going to be crippled just like that? This was not a 9th-level Divine Lord. There were not many 9th-level Divine Lords in the entire Taishu dynasty. Moreover, he wanted to cripple the entire Heavenly King Hao Xian Mansion. Saint Emperor, I refuse to accept this. Heavenly King Hao Xian shouted. Since you have committed a crime, you have to accept the punishment. Are you going to do it yourself, or should I do it? The Great Void Saint Emperor's voice was cold. Let's go. Suddenly, Heavenly King Hao Xian roared. His body burst up and rushed towards the sky. The experts he brought followed Heavenly King Hao Xian and rushed into the sky, wanting to escape. Heavenly King Hao Xian was an overlord after all. He would definitely not allow himself to be captured. However, when Heavenly King Hao Xian rushed into the sky, a figure suddenly appeared in the sky. It was an extremely burly figure wearing iron armor. Military King. Many people were shocked. They recognized that this was the Great Void Military King, the highest commander of the Grand Council, the military king who commanded the world's troops. Kill! The military king shouted coldly as the battle spear in his hand swept out. Boom! A huge battle spear pressed towards Heavenly King Hao Xian. Heavenly King Hao Xian roared and erupted with all his strength. He wanted to block it, but it was useless. He could not withstand a single blow. Under the spear, Heavenly King Hao Xian screamed. His arms exploded, and even half of his body exploded. His body fell to the ground and crashed heavily. Countless runes immediately spread out on the ground, enveloping the entire palace. After Heavenly King Hao Xian crashed to the ground only shook a little but did not explode. Heavenly King Hao Xian vomited blood. His aura was extremely weak. He had already been severely injured. Although Heavenly King Hao Xian had the cultivation of a 9th-level Divine Lord, the military king was a quasi-emperor. There was still a huge gap between them. He was severely injured in one move. After severely injuring Heavenly King Hao Xian, the military king waved his spear again. After a series of explosions, Heavenly King Hao Xian's subordinates were all severely injured. Chapter 3530. Swoosh! Finally, King Jun moved and landed beside Heavenly King Haosen. Saint Emperor, spare my life. Heavenly King Haosen begged for mercy. You still want to resist? How can I spare you? Kill! Taishu Saint Emperor said coldly. Poof! As soon as Taishu Saint Emperor finished speaking, King Jun attacked. His spear pierced through and killed Heavenly King Haosen. A 9th-level Divine Lord, a Heavenly King of a Heavenly King mansion, was killed just like that. The scene was silent. No one spoke. Everyone's face was extremely solemn as their eyes turned. Taishu Saint Emperor actually killed Heavenly King Haosen just because he sold the divine artifact to the Tianyi sacred dynasty. This was simply unbelievable. Many of the mansion lords present had done such a thing. Were they all going to be executed? Was the Saint Emperor going crazy because his time was up? Was he going to drag them down with him? Many people's hearts sank as all kinds of thoughts ran through their minds. Do you want to be buried with Haosen or submit to His Majesty the Saint Emperor and serve him? King Jun's gaze swept across those from Heavenly King Haosen Mansion. We are willing to submit to the Saint Emperor. Those from Heavenly King Haosen Mansion knelt down. Those who could follow Heavenly King Haosen here were naturally loyal to him. If Heavenly King Haosen was not dead, they would definitely resist to the end. But now that Heavenly King Haosen was dead, it was meaningless for them to continue resisting. All right. Men, take them away first. As soon as the Saint Emperor spoke, a group of guards immediately came and took the people from Heavenly King Haosen Mansion away. Then, Taishu Saint Emperor's gaze swept across again. Many people began to feel nervous as cold sweat dripped down their backs. Especially those who had done something similar to Saint Emperor Haosen, they were even more nervous. Heavenly King Fengxiang. Taishu Saint Emperor said lightly. This time, his gaze fell on another Heavenly King. Heavenly King Fengxiang was also a 9th-level Divine Lord. He was extremely powerful. There were 27 Heavenly King mansions in the Taishu dynasty. There was only one quasi-emperor, and that was Heavenly King Qiansheng. Other than Heavenly King Qiansheng, the Heavenly Kings in the top 8 Heavenly King mansions were all 9th-level Divine Lords. Among them, the first and second Heavenly King mansions had 2 9th-level Divine Lords. This was also to say that in the 27 Heavenly King palaces, there were a total of 10 9th-level Divine Lord powerhouses. The Soaring Phoenix Heavenly King residence was ranked 5th among the 27 Heavenly King residences. But at that moment, Heavenly King Feng Xiang's body trembled and his face turned pale. He stood up and bowed. "Your Majesty, what can I do for you?" "Heavenly King Feng Xiang, do you know your crime?" The Great Void Saint Emperor said coldly. "Your Majesty, what crime have I committed?" Heavenly King Feng Xiang's body trembled slightly, but he managed to stabilize himself and continued. "Do you want me to say it? The Soaring Phoenix Heavenly King's mansion produces a type of divine herb called the Soaring Phoenix grass, but you secretly sold it to the barbarian tribe at a high price. Don't you know that the barbarians are the mortal enemies of the Taishu dynasty? You are helping the enemy. This is a capital offense. Do you plead guilty?" The Great Void Saint Emperor said coldly. Heavenly King Feng Xiang's face was pale, but he naturally did not want to surrender. He said loudly, "Your Majesty, I admit that I sold the Soaring Phoenix grass to the barbarians, but it was not a large amount. Furthermore, the Soaring Phoenix Heavenly King residence has been fighting the barbarians all these years. I am guilty, but my contributions outweigh my crimes. I do not deserve to die. A crime is a crime. If you commit a crime, you must be punished. Do you want to do it yourself, or do you want me to get someone to do it?" The Taishu dynasty said coldly. "Ha ha ha." At that moment, Heavenly King Feng Xiang suddenly laughed crazily and shouted, "Jing Shu, do you think I don't know what you are trying to do? You are reaching the end of your lifespan. That's why you are going crazy. You want to eliminate all the palaces and unify all the palaces in the hands of the royal family. You want to be the eternal Saint Emperor." Not only could Blue Merchant guess the Saint Emperor's motive, but these Heavenly Kings were not simple-minded. They could also deduce some things based on the Saint Emperor's behavior. Since the Great Void Saint Emperor wanted to kill him, Heavenly King Feng Xiang might as well go all out. Not only did he call out the Taishu Saint Emperor's name, but he also directly revealed the Taishu Saint Emperor's motive. "Everyone, Jing Shu is crazy today. He will definitely eliminate all the palaces. Are you going to sit here and wait for death? He killed Heavenly King Hao Xian first, and then I will be next. After killing me, it will be all of you. He will come one by one and take you down one by one. Are you going to wait for him to capture you? Today, we can only survive if we join forces and fight back together." Heavenly King Feng Xiang roared, wanting to call on everyone to attack together. Anyway, he was going all out. As long as he could escape today, he would take his people and join the Tianyi sacred dynasty. Hearing Heavenly King Feng Xiang's words, many people's eyes lit up. They understood that Heavenly King Feng Xiang's words made sense. If this continued, they would definitely be defeated one by one. No one would be able to escape. Stubborn. You still want to sow discord between us. We can't let you live. Kill. The Taishu Saint Emperor shouted coldly. Boom. King Jun stepped out like a terrifying god of war. His terrifying aura forced towards Heavenly King Feng Xiang. "Everyone, what are you waiting for? What are you waiting for?" Heavenly King Feng Xiang roared. "That's right. If this continues, we will all be defeated one by one. We can only survive if we join forces." At this moment, a voice sounded. Everyone was shocked. It was Heavenly King Wushuang from the Wushuang Heavenly King residence. Heavenly King Wushuang was ranked first among the 27 Heavenly King residences. He had 2 9th-level Divine Lords and many other experts. Heavenly King Wushuang was a middle-aged man. He was very handsome. At this moment, divine power surrounded him. There were at least a dozen experts beside him who stood up at the same time. No one expected Heavenly King Wuxia to be the first to speak. In fact, Heavenly King Wuxia had no choice. Heavenly King Wuxia's residents secretly had business dealings with the barbarian tribe and the Tianyi sacred dynasty. It was a tacit agreement. But today, the Taishu Saint Emperor used this to make things difficult for them. They had no way to argue back. Moreover, Heavenly King Wuxia's residence was the leader of the 27 Heavenly Kings. They were very powerful. If the Taishu Saint Emperor really wanted to eliminate all the other Heavenly Kings, he would definitely start with Heavenly King Wuxia's residence. Moreover, they did not want to be eliminated, so they could only fight back. That's right. We can only save ourselves if we join forces. Heavenly King Wuxia's residence was about to attack. Alright, let's join forces. Following that, another Heavenly King from the Heavenly King residence spoke. Following that, more and more Heavenly Kings stood up and prepared for battle. King Jun stopped in his tracks. How dare you? I think you want to rebel. The Heavenly King roared. His terrifying aura filled the air, forming a terrifying pressure that pressed down on everyone. Following that, a few figures stepped out from behind the Taishu Saint Emperor. They appeared around the void and sealed the entire void. Most importantly, the aura of these people was extremely terrifying. Chapter 35-31. A few figures walked out from behind the Great Void Saint Emperor. They sealed the space and exuded a terrifying aura. Boundary Emperors, all of them were Boundary Emperors. There were a total of 3 people. Lu Ming recognized one of them. He was the 6th prince, the younger brother of the Great Void Saint Emperor. Back then, during the Great Void Saint Emperor's birthday banquet, he fought with the powerful barbarians together with the King Jun. He was also a Boundary Emperor. As for the other 2 black-robed elders, Lu Ming did not recognize them. However, they were extremely terrifying and powerful. They were both quasi-emperors. They are the hidden experts of the Taishu dynasty. Clearly, the Great Void Saint Emperor is fully prepared today. Blue Merchant transmitted his voice to Lu Ming behind Lu Ming. Blue Merchant's soul power was extremely strong. The others could not hear him transmitting his voice to Lu Ming. The 3 Boundary Emperors and the barbarian tribe experts surrounded everyone. Everyone looked pale. Heavenly King Wuxia, Heavenly King Fengxiang, and the others gathered together. They had no confidence in facing 4 Boundary Emperors. Everyone, don't be instigated by Heavenly King Fengxiang. Alright, I'll be frank. I'm going to eliminate all the clans today. The Great Void Saint Emperor said. Everyone's expression changed. Indeed. But, the Great Void Saint Emperor continued, not all the clans and lords are guilty. Today, only Heavenly King Haosen, Heavenly King Fengxiang, and Heavenly King Wuxia are guilty. Those who are guilty should be killed. However, the other clans are innocent. As long as you surrender and dissolve your clans, I'll still give you an important position. As soon as the Great Void Saint Emperor said that, many people's eyes lit up. The Great Void Saint Emperor said that only Heavenly King Fengxiang and Heavenly King Wuxia were guilty today. As long as the others surrendered, not only would they not be killed, but they would also be given an important position. Although they were unwilling to dissolve their clans, it was better than being killed. If they resisted today, they would not be able to survive. The Great Void Saint Emperor was clearly prepared. On the battlefield, there were 4 quasi-emperors, including the Taishu Holy Emperor himself, and the Imperial Advisor. That was a total of 6 quasi-emperors. They didn't have a single quasi-emperor. The only quasi-emperor, Thousand Holy Old Heavenly King, did not come today. Clearly, the Taishu Saint Emperor was afraid that something unexpected would happen, so he did not call Heavenly King Thousand Saints over. In any case, as long as he disbanded the Thousand Saints Heavenly King residence, he could slowly deal with Thousand Saints Old Heavenly King in the future. Many people had already begun to waver. Heavenly King Feng Xiang and Heavenly King Wu Shuang's expressions changed drastically. Everyone, don't be fooled by his tricks. If you surrender today and solve the clan mansion, he will definitely find an opportunity to kill you one by one in the future. Today, the only way to survive is to fight our way out and join the Tianyi sacred dynasty. Heavenly King Feng Xiang roared. That's right. He's trying to drive a wedge between us. Heavenly King Wushuang also roared. He had already been singled out by the Taishu Saint Emperor. Today, he could only fight to the death. During this process, Lu Ming and the others were very calm and did not make any movements. Even if he were to make a move, with the manpower he brought along, as well as Heavenly King Feng Xiang and the others, the odds were against them. It was not worthwhile for him to resist with Heavenly King Feng Xiang and the others. In his opinion, disbanding the clan mansion was not a big deal. His hidden dragon mansion had been established not long ago, and only the combat power he had was still there. The clan mansion was just a name, and he did not care. As long as he could leave this place today, he could bring the undying demon lord with him. With the barbarian race behind him, even the Taishu Saint Emperor would not be able to touch him easily. Of course, this was because the Taishu Saint Emperor did not want to do anything to him. Otherwise, he would definitely fight back. Humans were all selfish, weren't they? A monarch doesn't joke. If I say that he is innocent, then he is innocent. If I say that I won't touch you, then I won't touch you. This is the last time I say this. If you want to die with Feng Xiang and Wushuang, then I will fulfill your wish. The Taishu Saint Emperor stood up, and his terrifying aura became even more shocking. Even though they were all quasi-emperors, there were differences in strength. As for the Taishu Saint Emperor, he was half a step away from becoming a true sacred emperor. Once he unleashed his full strength, it would be earth-shattering. I will disband the clan mansion and submit to your majesty. At this moment, a voice rang out. It was an elder in a black robe. Many people were shocked as they recognized this elder in a black robe. He was the Heavenly King of the Jiuyo Heavenly King residence, Heavenly King Jiuyo. Jiuyo, you, Heavenly King Wushuang was furious. Alright, Jiuyo, I will do what I say. Those who are willing to submit to me, step aside. The Taishu Saint Emperor said. Thank you, Your Majesty. Heavenly King Jiuyo led the people of the Jiuyo Heavenly King residence to the side. Your Majesty, I am also willing to submit. Me too. Following that, the people of the other clan mansions knelt down one by one. It was already good enough that they were not killed by the Taishu Saint Emperor. After all, the clan mansion was more important than their lives. They had to save their lives first. Soon, more and more people submitted to the Taishu Saint Emperor. Heavenly King Feng Xiang and Heavenly King Wushuang's faces turned darker and darker. Let's go. Charge out. Heavenly King Wushuang and Heavenly King Feng Xiang roared and led the experts of the two Heavenly King residents to charge toward one of the black-robed elders. There were 2 level 9 divine lords in Heavenly King Wushuang's residence. Including Heavenly King Feng Xiang, there were a total of 3 level 9 divine lords. In addition to the other level 8 and level 7 divine lords, their combined power was extremely terrifying. Moreover, the black-robed elder that they had chosen did not seem to have a strong aura. He was considered weak among the boundary emperors. Violent attacks surged towards the old man like raging waves. You are courting death. The black-robed elder shouted coldly as his divine power erupted. A saber appeared in his hand and he slashed out. The saber seemed to have lit up the starry sky and the universe. It was unimaginably stunning. Boom! The attacks from both sides collided heavily and there was a shocking explosion. Following that, the black-robed elder's saber light shook violently and finally exploded. The black-robed elder's body floated backward. However, Heavenly King Wuxia and Heavenly King Feng Xiang's attack was also blocked and their speed slowed down. Wuxia, it seems like you are about to become a boundary emperor. Unfortunately, you are still one step away. The Taishu Saint Emperor's voice rang out. At this moment, another black-robed elder, Lord Jun, and the sixth Wuxia rushed toward Heavenly King Wuxia and the others. The four boundary emperors had joined forces. At this moment, Heavenly King Wuxia and Heavenly King Feng Xiang's hearts sank. They knew that they would definitely die today. Shocking technique, you will die a horrible death. Heavenly King Feng Xiang roared crazily. How dare you insult the sacred emperor? Die! Lord Jun shouted as his long spear pierced through the void, breaking through layers of defense and piercing through Heavenly King Feng Xiang's forehead. On the other side, Heavenly King Wuxia was extremely powerful and was about to become a boundary emperor. Unfortunately, he was still not a boundary emperor. Under the joint attack of the sixth Wuxia and the black-robed elder, he was instantly killed. Chapter 35-32. This was a battle without any suspense. Under the joint suppression of the four quasi-emperors, Heavenly King Fengxiang Mansion and Heavenly King Wuxia Mansion were reduced to ashes. The two Heavenly Kings were killed, and the other Divine Emperor from Heavenly King Wuxia Mansion was also killed without much resistance. More than half of the other experts were also killed. The remaining experts all surrendered and were taken down by the Saint Emperor's guards. Many people at the scene felt like they were in a dream. The famous Heavenly King Wuxia, Heavenly King Fengxiang, and Heavenly King Haosan had fallen just like that. These were all overlords, and it was difficult to meet them. Each of them was a top figure in the Taishu dynasty, but now, they were so worthless and were easily killed. Alright, today, all the traitors have been killed. Everyone else, please take a seat. The Taishu Saint Emperor waved his hand. Everyone sat down, but they were still trembling with fear. However, there is still one person who must be punished today. Unexpectedly, the Taishu Saint Emperor spoke again, which shocked many people and made them fearful. Then, the Taishu Saint Emperor's gaze fell on the area at the bottom, and finally fell on Lu Ming. Lu Ming's face changed. He did not expect the Taishu Saint Emperor to target him. Was it because of the Blue Merchant's soul mother? In an instant, several thoughts flashed through Lu Ming's mind. Lu Ming, Marquis Lu. The Taishu Saint Emperor said lightly. Your Majesty, may I know why you called me? Lu Ming had calmed down, stood up, and cupped his fists. The youngest Marquis of the Taishu dynasty, reached the peak of the Divine King realm at such a young age, and suppressed all the geniuses of the Tianyi sacred dynasty. No wonder you are Yu's successor, you are even more outstanding than Yu. The Taishu dynasty said lightly, and his voice spread throughout the scene. As soon as he said this, the scene suddenly fell silent. At this moment, time seemed to have frozen. Everyone widened their eyes and looked at Lu Ming in a daze, full of surprise. There was only one Yu that the Taishu Saint Emperor mentioned. That was the extremely talented prince, Jing Yu. Lu Ming was actually Jing Yu's successor. At this moment, Lu Ming and Blue Merchant were equally shocked. The Taishu Saint Emperor already knew. Lu Ming didn't say anything, but his mind was racing. When he saw that Lu Ming was silent, the Taishu Saint Emperor continued, you don't have to deny it. I know you too well. Therefore, when I first saw you, I knew that you were Yu's successor. You have his aura on you. There's no mistake about it. Later on, when the Great Void Imperial Academy was held, you obtained third place. Originally, you could have made a condition for me, but you used that condition to save Blue Merchant. That made me even more certain. Could it be the power of a sovereign again? Lu Ming's heart stirred. Back then, Blue Merchant had recognized him as Jing Yu's successor at first sight. In that case, others could as well, as long as they knew Jing Yu well. At this moment, the Crown Prince and State Preceptor looked at Lu Ming in shock. They were clearly surprised. They also didn't expect Lu Ming to be Jing Yu's successor. What? Are you still going to deny it? The Taishu Saint Emperor asked. That's right, I am indeed Prince Jing Yu's successor. Lu Ming spoke. Since he was already exposed, there was no need to hide it. He would just reveal it. The moment he said that, the crowd went into an uproar. This was too surprising. Lu Ming was actually Jing Yu's successor. No wonder he was so outstanding. I'm just curious. Since the Saint Emperor already knew that I was Jing Yu's successor, why didn't you expose me earlier? Lu Ming continued to ask. Why did I expose you earlier? I wanted to see how your successor is like. Is he as outstanding as him? Now, it seems like you didn't disappoint me. You're even more outstanding than exceeding my expectations. But now, I can't let you live. The Taishu Saint Emperor's voice turned cold. Many people, including Lu Ming, were shocked by these words. The Taishu Saint Emperor's last sentence was obviously to get rid of Lu Ming. Lu Ming's eyes sharpened. Lu Ming, under the Blue Merchant scheme, you've improved your strength step by step. In the end, you want to take revenge for Jing Yu, right? The Taishu Saint Emperor's eyes were as bright as the sun, as if he could see through Lu Ming. Revenge? Saint Emperor, you're overthinking. I just want to reverse the verdict for Prince Jing Yu. I believe that Prince Jing Yu left a message saying that he was wronged back then. I just want to find out the truth of what happened back then. Lu Ming said. Reverse the verdict? I killed Jing Yu back then. If you want to reverse the verdict, isn't that the same as taking revenge on me? The Taishu Saint Emperor sneered, his killing intent cold. At this moment, he was calling Jing Yu by his name. Saint Emperor, Lu Ming has no intention of taking revenge on you. As long as you help Lu Ming find out the truth of what happened back then and clear Prince Jing Yu's name, that will be enough. Lu Ming said. The truth? What Jing Yu did back then is the truth. Lu Ming, you've been hiding your identity and increasing your strength. You have ulterior motives and are disgraceful. Kill yourself and I'll leave your corpse intact. The Taishu Saint Emperor said coldly. Lu Ming's face turned cold. He didn't expect the Taishu Saint Emperor to be so unreasonable and want to kill him. In his opinion, even if the Taishu Saint Emperor knew that he was Jing Yu's successor, he wouldn't kill him so easily. After all, he just wanted to reverse the verdict for Jing Yu. Could it be that there was a deeper story behind what happened back then? Saint Emperor, are you so afraid of the truth of what happened back then? What was the truth hidden back then? Also, Jing Yu and the Saint Concubine were lovers, but you forcefully took her away. I suspect that you framed Prince Jing Yu back then. Lu Ming shouted. Since the Saint Emperor wanted to kill him, he might as well go all out and say anything. As soon as he said that, many people were shocked and looked at Lu Ming in shock. Audacious, truly audacious. This matter was taboo for the Saint Emperor. No one dared to mention it in front of him. Those who did were all dead. But not only did Lu Ming dare to mention it, he even said that Jing Yu was framed by the Saint Emperor. He didn't know what death was. As expected, the Saint Emperor was enraged. A terrifying aura emanated from his body as he roared, disgraceful. Men, kill Lu Ming on the spot. No, cripple him first. I want him to beg for death. Yes. Immediately, a burly man stepped out from behind the Saint Emperor and charged at Lu Ming. This burly man was one of the Saint Emperor's guards and had the cultivation of a 9th-level divine lord. To deal with Lu Ming, there was no need for a quasi-emperor to take action. The Saint Emperor knew that Lu Ming had an 8th-level divine lord by his side. Therefore, it was enough for him to send a 9th-level divine lord guard. Chapter 35-33. The relationship between the sacred imperial concubine and Jingyu had always been the Taishu sacred emperor's taboo. No one dared to mention it. After all, it was seriously too unpleasant to hear. Lu Ming actually dared to mention it in public. The sacred emperor was thoroughly enraged and directly had people kill Lu Ming. Kneel down and kowtow to the sacred emperor and admit your mistake for me. A middle-aged guard wearing iron armor, his aura thick like the sea, stepped over in the air, a palm smacking over toward Lu Ming. An enormous palm seal formed, crushing over toward Lu Ming. This palm, forget about Lu Ming, even an 8th-level divine lord existence would also be pressed down by his palm force. Clearly, the middle-aged guard knew that there was an 8th-level divine lord existence by Lu Ming's side. But so what? It was fine if the other party did not make a move. If he wanted to make a move, then kneel down together. Get lost. At this time, an angry roar came from Lu Ming's side. A burly figure rushed out explosively, slamming a punch out. The void trembled wildly. The horrifying fist force slammed into the middle-aged guard's palm seal, making his palm seal crumble instantly. The fist force did not stop, the berserk power surging wildly toward the middle-aged guard. The middle-aged guard's expression changed. Both arms trembled, forming a layer of defensive divine power, blocking the attack of the fist force. But he still retreated repeatedly. 9th-level divine lord. The middle-aged guard opened his mouth rather incredulously. The one who attacked just now beside Lu Ming was a 9th-level divine lord existence. Therefore, he was directly repelled due to his carelessness just now. But why would there be a 9th-level divine lord existence by Lu Ming's side? Everyone present was stunned, looking at Lu Ming somewhat incredulously. 9th-level divine lord, in the Taishu dynasty, that was a top powerhouse. The 27 heavenly king palaces added up were just 10. Lu Ming, this junior youth's side, just a marquee manor actually had a 9th-level divine lord existence. 9th-level divine lord, Lu Ming, I underestimated you. The great void saint sovereign was also very surprised. Previously, he did not pay attention to those people around Lu Ming at all. The way he saw it, the strongest around Lu Ming was just an 8th-level divine lord. It was not worth paying attention to at all. Therefore, he had no idea how many experts Lu Ming had by his side. In fact, it was the same for the others. In addition, Giant Bear, Tian, and the others tried their best to conceal their auras. No one noticed them at all. Lu Ming, leave now. Blue Merchant transmitted his voice to Lu Ming. Alright, Giant Bear, Tian, let's go. Lu Ming shouted in a low voice. Then, Giant Bear and the others swept up Lu Ming and rushed towards the sky. The Taishu Saint Emperor had already steeled his heart to kill him. If he didn't leave now, when would he? You think you can leave in the Imperial Palace? 6th brother, kill them. The moment Lu Ming and the others rose into the air, the Taishu Saint Emperor issued this order coldly. Boom! The 6th Wangye soared into the sky and the space kept exploding. A terrifying saber light bloomed from the 6th Wangye's hand and slashed towards Lu Ming and the others. The 6th Wangye was a quasi-emperor realm expert. This saber strike was extremely terrifying. He wanted to kill Lu Ming and the others with a single strike. However, at this moment, Giant Bear made his move. He roared and his body swelled rapidly. The armor on his body exploded into pieces. Then, a huge bear paw slapped towards the saber light. Boom! The saber light shook violently and then exploded with a bang. What? Everyone's eyes almost popped out of their sockets. The sixth Wuxia had personally made a move and his saber strike was blocked. The sixth Wuxia was a quasi-emperor. When he dealt with Heavenly King Wuxia and the others just now, he was so powerful that it made them despair. But now, his terrifying saber strike was blocked. Only a quasi-emperor could block the saber strike of a quasi-emperor and be unharmed. Lu Ming actually had a quasi-emperor by his side? What was a quasi-emperor? It was the peak combat power of the Taishu dynasty. There were only a few of them. What did Lu Ming do to have such an expert by his side? The Taishu Saint Emperor, the Crown Prince, the State Preceptor, and the others all widened their eyes in shock. Attack, kill them! The Taishu Saint Emperor roared. Whoosh! Whoosh! This time, it was not only the sixth Wuxia who attacked again. The Jun Wang and a black-robed elder also attacked. The Saint Emperor ordered that they could not let Lu Ming and the others escape. Therefore, in an instant, 3 quasi-emperors charged towards Lu Ming and the others. The 3 quasi-emperors attacked with all their might. They were too fast. Even though Lu Ming and the others had already rushed into the starry sky, they still caught up with them. The 3 attacks were 100 times brighter than meteors. They blasted towards them and wherever they passed, the space exploded. You guys protect Lu Ming and Senior Lan. We will block the quasi-emperors. Yi Tian transmitted his voice to Zhu Tai and the other 9th-level Divine Lord experts. Then, he suddenly turned around and a huge battle saber appeared in his hands. Divine power burst forth and his armor exploded, revealing his true appearance. Yi Tian could not care less about hiding his identity now. Clang! Clang! Yi Tian's battle saber vibrated violently. 2 bright saber lights burst forth and slashed towards the Jun Wang and a black-robed elder. Boom! Boom! 2 terrifying explosions rang out. In the starry sky, it was as if 2 stars had exploded, setting off a terrifying cosmic storm. In the end, the Jun Wang and the black-robed elder's attacks were blocked. However, Yi Tian was unable to defeat the 2 of them and was forced to retreat. At the same time, the giant bear and the 6th Wuxia exchanged blows and both of them retreated at the same time. Another quasi-emperor. Someone exclaimed in disbelief. There was actually another quasi-emperor by Lu Ming's side. Countless people's hearts were filled with shock and fear. 2 quasi-emperors. With such combat power, who in the Taishu dynasty could compare to them? Other than the imperial family, no one could compare to them. As for some of the older people, their eyes were filled with shock. This person looks familiar. He looks like Yi Tian. It's indeed Yi Tian, the leader of the 3 generals under Prince Jingyu. Lu Ming is indeed the successor of Jingyu. There was an uproar. Although Lu Ming had already admitted it, now that they saw Yi Tian and Lu Ming together, there was no doubt that Lu Ming was the successor of Jingyu. A group of traitors. Very well, let's catch all of you in one fell swoop today. The Great Void Sacred Emperor's cold voice rang out. Swish! 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 The Jun Wang, the 6th Wuxia, and the black-robed elder continued to attack. They pushed their combat power to the extreme and charged towards the giant bear and Yi Tian. The 5 quasi-emperors broke out in a fierce battle. However, those who could reach the quasi-emperor realm were peerless geniuses. Hence, their combat power was not much different. Only those who were abnormally strong could be invincible among their peers. Hence, it was difficult for the giant bear and Yi Tian to withstand the 2 of them alone. Leave the 2 of them to us. You go and kill Lu Ming. The Jun Wang transmitted his voice to the black-robed elder. At the same time, he launched a terrifying attack and fought with Yi Tian, freeing the black-robed elder. All right. The black-robed elder's body swayed. He bypassed Yi Tian and charged towards Lu Ming. Damn it! Yi Tian wanted to help but was entangled by the Jun Wang. Chapter 35-34. I miscalculated. Lu Ming furrowed his brows. He hadn't expected that the sage emperor had already known of his identity and was determined to kill him. He really hadn't expected this. According to his calculations, even if the sacred emperor knew his identity, he might not kill him. After all, Jing Yu was the one who made the mistake, and Jing Yu was the sacred emperor's son. Wouldn't the sacred emperor be heartbroken if he killed Jing Yu? Lu Ming was Jing Yu's successor, and so many years had passed. What reason did the sacred emperor have to kill him? Was he really afraid that he would seek revenge? It was definitely not that simple. If he knew this would happen, he would have joined forces with Heavenly King Wuxia and the others. He would not be in such a passive position now. The black-robed elder was very fast. He caught up with Lu Ming in an instant. A pitch-black ghost claw grabbed at Lu Ming and the others. Block it! Zhu Tai shouted. Then, his figure flashed. A total of 5 ninth-layer Divine King existences beside Lu Ming attacked together. 5 dazzling attacks gathered together and bombarded the pitch-black ghost claw. The starry sky trembled and energy swept out in all directions. Then, the ghost claw shook and was pushed back. It was blocked. The 5 ninth-layer Divine Monarchs joined forces and blocked the black-robed elder's attack. Heavens, 5 ninth-layer Divine Monarchs. This, everyone at the scene was dumbfounded and dumbfounded. They were all stupefied. Today, Lu Ming had given everyone too many surprises. He actually had so many top experts around him. 2 quasi-emperors and 5 ninth-layer Divine Monarchs. They had the power to disrupt the Taishu dynasty's situation. Why aren't you attacking? The Great Void Sacred Emperor looked at the other black-robed elder beside him. Yes. The black-robed elder's eyes flickered a few times. He did not seem to want to attack, but the Sacred Emperor had ordered him to. Just as the black-robed old man was about to attack, a resplendent swordlight suddenly burst out from the starry sky. It traversed the universe and was incomparably resplendent as it slashed towards the black-robed old man who was attacking Lu Ming and the others. This black-robed old man had green hair and green eyes. At this moment, his green eyes were filled with shock. He waved his hands, forming a pitch-black long spear and thrusting it forward. With a boom, the pitch-black spear collided with the sword light, and then both of them dissipated. At this moment, a white-haired old man appeared in the starry sky. "Thousand Saints Old Heavenly King!" Someone exclaimed. That's right, this old man was Thousand Saint Old Heavenly King. Sage Emperor, it's so lively today, yet you didn't invite me. That's not very kind of you. Thousand Holy Old Heavenly King's voice reverberated throughout the entire place. The Great Void Saint Emperor's face was somewhat gloomy. The reason why he did not invite the Holy Old Heavenly King was because the Holy Old Heavenly King was a quasi-emperor. When a quasi-emperor fought with his life on the line, it was still very shocking. Shao Chun did not invite the Thousand Holy Old Heavenly King over to prevent any accidents from happening to the Shao clan residence. As long as the Shao clan residence was destroyed, Thousand Holy Old Heavenly King would not be able to cause any trouble in the future. Shao Chun did not expect Thousand Holy Old Heavenly King to come. Obviously, he had rushed over after hearing the news. Thousand Holy Old Heavenly King, you came at the right time. These people are all traitors. Take down the traitors for me. The Great Void Sage Emperor said coldly. Traitors? How can Lu Ming be a traitor? Thousand Holy Old Heavenly King said. Old Heavenly King, Lu Ming is the successor of Jing Yu. At this moment, Blue Merchant took off his black robe, revealing his true face as he spoke to Thousand Holy Old Heavenly King. "Blue Merchant, you're not dead." Seeing Blue Merchant, the great Void Sage Emperor let out a furious roar. He instantly understood that he had been deceived. "Of course I'm not dead. As a Sage Emperor, you secretly sent people to kill me after knowing that I have a spiritual treasure on me. How laughable." Blue Merchant said coldly. Since they had completely fallen out with each other, Blue Merchant did not care about the Sage Emperor's face and directly exposed him. Many people looked at each other when they heard this. The great Void Sage Emperor had secretly sent people to kill Blue Merchant. It was really disappointing that a Sage Emperor would do such a thing. Of course, they were only thinking about it in their hearts. They were not as bold as Blue Merchant to say it out loud. The great Void Sage Emperor's face was extremely gloomy. He said, "Thousand Holy Old Heavenly King, why aren't you making a move to take down the traitor? Since Lu Ming is the successor of Jingyu, how can he be a traitor? In my opinion, the matter of Jingyu back then was also very suspicious. I know Jingyu. He would never do such a thing. He was most likely framed. Lu Ming should want to find out the truth about Jingyu back then. I think it's necessary to find out the truth." Thousand Holy Old Heavenly King said. "Thousand Holy Old Heavenly King, are you rebelling too?" The great Void Sage Emperor said. "Sage Emperor, Jingyu is your most outstanding son. If he was framed, don't you want to find out the truth? Clear his name?" The Holy Thousandth Elder said. "I saw what happened back then with my own eyes. There's no need to investigate further. Saint Xian, I wanted to spare your life on account of our many years of friendship. Since you're so stubborn, I'll kill you as well." The great Void Saint Emperor said coldly. "Advance and retreat with the Old Heavenly King." Thousand Saints Heavenly King roared and led the experts of his residence into the starry sky to meet up with Thousand Saints Old Heavenly King. The current Thousand Saints Heavenly King was the son of the old Thousand Saints Heavenly King. Naturally, he would stand by the old Heavenly King's side unconditionally. The atmosphere at the scene was extremely tense, and a great battle could break out at any moment. Prince Jingyu was innocent back then. At this moment, a voice rang out. Her voice was crisp and pleasant to the ears. It was like the sound of pearls and jade colliding together. Once one heard it, one's heart would calm down. As he spoke, several figures appeared in the sky above the great void holy capital. The leader was a woman. She looked to be in her 20s, but her charm was unparalleled. She was devastatingly beautiful. What a beautiful woman! Lu Ming's eyes flickered. This woman's beauty could be ranked in the top few among all the women he had seen. Moreover, she had a special temperament that made it difficult for people to shift their gaze away from her. The Imperial Concubine. Blue Merchant muttered, his eyes filled with shock. The Imperial Concubine? This is the Imperial Concubine? Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. This was the first time he had seen the Imperial Concubine. She was indeed very beautiful. No wonder the great Void Saint Emperor wanted her for himself. At this moment, the Imperial Concubine became the center of attention. Everyone's eyes fell on her, not only because of her beauty, but also because of what she had just said. Prince Jingyu was innocent. In this world, the Imperial Concubine was the one who knew the most about what had happened back then. After all, she was the one who had been involved. Could it be that there was more to what had happened back then? Shishua, who allowed you to come out? Go back. The great Void Saint Emperor's face was extremely gloomy as he shouted coldly. So many years have passed. Since everyone is here today, including Jingyu's successor, it's time to clarify what happened back then. Jingyu has been wronged for so many years. It's time to clear his name. The Imperial Concubine said. Lu Ming and Blue Merchant looked at each other and saw the surprise and doubt in each other's eyes. The imperial concubine, Kong Shishue, actually said that Jing Yu was innocent. Wasn't she the one who had framed Jing Yu back then? Chapter 35-35. Shishue, what did you say? Are you out of your mind? Go back to where you came from. Do you hear me? The Great Void Saint Emperor shouted coldly, his voice filled with killing intent. Are you still trying to threaten me now? But I've already made preparations over the years. I've already moved my family to a safe place. Your tricks are useless against me. The imperial concubine seemed to have thought of something as her eyes turned cold. As soon as these words were spoken, many people were greatly shocked and their imaginations ran wild. What did the imperial concubine mean? Could it be that the Saint Emperor used the imperial concubine's family to threaten her back then? Did he make her do something she was unwilling to do? There were many secrets hidden in this. I think you've really gone crazy. Men, bring the imperial concubine back. The Great Void Saint Emperor shouted coldly as endless killing intent brewed in the depths of his eyes. Jing Shu, from now on, I'm no longer under your control. From now on, I'm no longer the imperial concubine. I'm Kong Shishue. Kong Shishue's voice rang out as divine power emanated from her. Her glabella glowed as a golden steel ring appeared, suffused with a resplendent radiance. The other three people beside the imperial concubine, 2 old women and a middle-aged woman, were also suffused with a resplendent radiance as divine power erupted. 9th level Divine Lords. The sacred imperial concubine and the 3 people that she brought were actually all 9th level Divine Lord cultivation. No one was surprised. Kong Shishue was also a peerless genius back then. Although she was not as good as Jingyu, her talent was unparalleled among her peers. It was not surprising that she had cultivated to 9th level Divine Lords. However, Lu Ming and Blue Merchant were still very surprised. It's her? Lu Ming and Blue Merchant couldn't help but exclaim softly. Lu Ming and Blue Merchant recognized Kong Shishue the moment she used the Vajra ring. Back then, the Great Void Saint Emperor had tricked Lu Ming into finding his parents. Then, Lu Ming and Blue Merchant were surrounded and attacked. 2 groups of people had saved them. Blue Merchant speculated that one of the groups was sent by the Crown Prince. There was another mysterious lady who used a diamond ring. Lan Shang and Lu Ming could not figure out who she was. Now that they looked at her, they understood. The person who saved them back then was Kong Shishue. It was normal for Kong Shishue, as the divine royal concubine, to know about the Taishu Sage Emperor's plan. In that case, before they entered the great illusionary divine capital, someone had warned Lu Ming and the rest that this danger was probably sent by the divine royal concubine. Attack! If he resists, kill him! The Great Void Saint Emperor roared, his face contorted. Protect the imperial concubine! Lu Ming shouted. He gathered with the giant bear and Yi Tian and rushed towards Kong Shishue. Nothing must happen to Kong Shishue. Today, the truth of Jing Yu's matter would be revealed. Attack, attack together! The Great Void Saint Emperor roared at the guards behind him. Yes! The black-robed elder beside the Great Void Saint Emperor obeyed. This black-robed elder was bald. At that moment, all the divine power in his body exploded. Everyone thought that he was going to soar into the sky and attack Kong Shishue. However, the next scene shocked everyone. Poof! A dazzling sword radiance shot out from the bald black-robed elder's hand and pierced towards the Great Void Saint Emperor's heart. The Great Void Saint Emperor had never expected the bald black-robed elder to attack him. It was too late for him to block the attack. Poof! The sword radiance pierced through the Great Void Saint Emperor's back, through his heart, and through his chest. Moreover, the terrifying sword Qi shot out and destroyed the Great Void Saint Emperor's heart in an instant. Then, the sword Qi spread around his body. Roar! The Great Void Saint Emperor let out a beast-like roar. A terrifying force exploded like the sun. It turned into billowing waves of energy that surged towards the bald black-robed elder. The Great Void Saint Emperor was already half a step into the Divine Emperor realm. Now that he was fighting with his life on the line, his battle strength was at its peak. However, the bald black-robed elder was also a quasi-emperor. His speed was shocking. In a flash, he dodged the Great Void Saint Emperor's attack and landed beside the Crown Prince. However, some of the people around the Great Void Saint Emperor were not so lucky. Those who were below the 8th level Divine Lord realm were turned into ashes before they could even scream. Some of the 8th level and 9th level Divine Lord realm guards coughed out blood and retreated. They were severely injured. In an instant, a few hundred people died, including some concubines, princesses, and princes. Everyone at the scene was stunned. Including Lu Ming, Blue Merchant, and Kong Shishue. This scene was beyond everyone's expectations. The bald black-robed elder had actually launched a sneak attack on the Great Void Saint Emperor and severely injured him with a single move. Ah! The Great Void Saint Emperor roared. His hair was disheveled and he coughed out blood. That move just now had caused too much damage to him. It had almost destroyed his bodily functions. After all, it was a sneak attack from a quasi-emperor. It was too terrifying. It was already a miracle that he was still alive. The Great Void Saint Emperor's face was contorted. His eyes were red as he stared at the Crown Prince and roared, "Unfilial son, it's you." The bald black-robed elder landed beside the Crown Prince. At this moment, the Crown Prince's eyes were filled with excitement. He was so excited that his body was trembling. Today's events had really exceeded his expectations. Originally, he had wanted to fight to the death and kill the Great Void Saint Emperor today. However, he did not have much confidence. However, Lu Ming had so many experts around him. They were able to restrain the Great Void Saint Emperor's forces. Moreover, even the Saint Concubine had stepped forward. All of this had distracted the Great Void Saint Emperor and made him lower his guard. All of this was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for him. That bald black-robed elder had already sided with him. He secretly sent out a signal. The bald black-robed elder's sneak attack had indeed severely injured the Great Void Saint Emperor. "Father, your words are too harsh." The Crown Prince stood up calmly and said, "I have long suspected that Brother Jingyu was framed. Today, it seems that it was indeed the case. However, Father has repeatedly stopped the Saint Concubine, no, Kong Shishue, from telling the truth. After thinking about it, I decided to stand on the side of justice and use this method to stop Father and force Kong Shishue to tell the truth." The Crown Prince found a very good reason for himself. He was not killing his father. He would only stand on the side of justice. "Saint Emperor! Your Majesty!" The 6th Wangye and the green-haired elder exclaimed. They returned to the Great Void Saint Emperor's side and protected him. However, the Guard King did not return to the Great Void Saint Emperor's side. Instead, he stepped forward and came to the Crown Prince's side. "You have also betrayed me?" The Great Void Saint Emperor glared at the Guard King. The Guard King could be said to have been groomed by him. He did not expect the Guard King to side with the Crown Prince. "Your Majesty is getting old. In the future, the Crown Prince will be the next Saint Emperor," the Guard King said plainly. "All of you." The Great Void Saint Emperor was enraged. He then looked at the second prince and said, "Jinkuan, go and get rid of this unfilial son. When I die, the Saint Emperor's position will be yours." Chapter 35-36. the second prince's name was Jing Kun. However, the second prince sat there motionlessly as though he had not heard anything. Unfilial son! Unfilial son! The great void sacred emperor roared like a madman. Those heavenly kings would not help the great void sacred emperor. Today, the great void sacred emperor wanted to eliminate all the heavenly kings. These people could not wait for the great void sacred emperor to be killed. What happened today was exactly what they wanted. Today, the great void sacred emperor was truly deserted. Kong Shishue, what happened back then? Tell us. The crown prince said to Kong Shishue. All right. Kong Shishue nodded and said, back then, Crown Prince Jingyu was innocent. It was the sacred emperor who forced me to frame Crown Prince Jingyu. Kong Shishue's words shocked everyone. Once she said that, there was an uproar. Everyone was so shocked that they were dumbfounded. Lu Ming, Blue Merchant, Yi Tian, and the rest were the same. They had never imagined that the mastermind behind this was actually the Great Void Saint Emperor. They had thought that the one who framed Jingyu was either the Crown Prince or the Second Prince. Never in their wildest dreams did they expect the Great Void Sacred Emperor to be the one who framed Jingyu. The Great Void Sacred Emperor was Jingyu's father. Why? Why did he frame Jingyu? Jingyu had unparalleled talent and was the strongest in the history of the Taishu dynasty. He could have broken through to the Divine Emperor realm and led the Taishu dynasty to greater heights. Why did he frame Jingyu and want to kill him? Holy Thousand King asked, his heart full of doubts. This was also the question in everyone's mind. Not only was Jingyu his son, but he was also unparalleled. Why did the Great Void Sacred Emperor want to kill Jingyu? It's because Jingyu's talent is too strong that Jing Shu killed him. Jing Shu is a selfish and narrow-minded person. Kong Shishue said, her eyes full of resentment. Shut up. Shut up for this emperor. The Great Void Sacred Emperor roared. If you dare to do it, why don't you dare to let me say it? Kong Shishue sneered and continued, Jing Shu is jealous of Jingyu's talent. Since Jingyu reached the quasi-emperor realm, he became even more jealous. Moreover, he is afraid that Jingyu will reach the Divine Emperor realm. Once Jingyu enters the Divine Emperor realm, he will be the uncrowned king of the Taishu dynasty, the real number one. Jing Shu is afraid that his position will be threatened, so he wants to get rid of Jingyu. However, at that time, Jingyu was already invincible in the Taishu dynasty. Even Jing Shu himself was no match for him. Killing Jingyu was easier said than done. Therefore, he used me, my parents, my brothers and sisters, and all my relatives to threaten me. If I didn't cooperate with him, he would kill all my relatives. I had no choice but to cooperate with him and frame Jingyu. Moreover, I poisoned Jingyu's wine. At the crucial moment, Jing Shu purposely arrived and attacked Jingyu when he was distracted. He severely injured Jingyu. You all know what happened after that. Following Kong Shishue's words, the entire place fell into a deathly silence. No one expected that the truth would be like this. All of this had been planned by the Taishu Saint Emperor. He had even wanted to kill his own son, who was the most capable. He was truly selfish to the extreme. So it's like this, ha ha ha. Lan Shang laughed heartily, but there were tears in his eyes. The matter of Jingyu had always been a demon in Blue Merchant's heart. Because of this matter, his cultivation was crippled and he almost became a cripple. He had always wanted to find out the truth, but the truth was out of his expectation. There is actually such a person in this world. Lu Ming whispered, feeling sad for Jingyu. Jingyu was killed by his own father and his lover. However, Lu Ming did not doubt that there was indeed such a selfish person in this world. To the Great Void Sacred Emperor, he did not care about the glory of the Taishu dynasty. Even if Jingyu broke through to the Divine Emperor realm and led the Taishu dynasty to glory, what did it have to do with him? He was not the one who led the Taishu dynasty to glory. What he wanted was his own glory. Everyone who surpassed him and threatened his position should die. There was another reason why he killed Jingyu, and that was because of me. Kong Shishue continued to speak, but her eyes were filled with sadness. That year, Jingyu and I were truly in love. However, one day, Jingshu saw me and wanted to have me. I refused, so he captured my family and held them in his hands to threaten me. In the end, I could only agree. Kong Shishue said. What? Despicable! Blue Merchant roared. Everyone came to a realization. At that time, everyone was puzzled as to why Kong Shishue would suddenly marry the Great Void Sacred Emperor and become the sacred concubine. Many people said that it was because of Kong Shishue's vanity. It turned out that the Great Void Sacred Emperor had captured Kong Shishue's family and threatened Kong Shishue. First, he threatened Kong Shishue, forcing Kong Shishue to marry him. Then, he threatened Kong Shishue, forcing Kong Shishue to frame Jingyu. Despicable, truly despicable. Lu Ming had never seen such a despicable person. As long as Jingyu is alive, the world will always think of my relationship with Jingyu. They will always think that Jing Shu stole his son's woman. Therefore, only when Jingyu is dead will the world forget everything. This is also one of the reasons why he wanted to kill Jingyu. All these years, I have been secretly moving my family away. I have been looking for an opportunity to reveal the truth and prove Jingyu's innocence. Kong Shishue continued. Jingshu, I didn't expect you to be such a person. Holy Thousand King shook his head and sighed. He was heartbroken for Jingyu. Back then, Jingyu was the person he valued the most. He didn't expect Jingyu to end up like this. Father, your actions are too disappointing. Originally, the Taishu dynasty could have been more glorious if brother Jingyu was alive. I didn't expect that he would be framed and killed by you. Although you are my father, today, I will seek justice for brother Jingyu. At this moment, the crown prince stepped forward and said loudly. Many people looked at him with disdain. The crown prince's words were truly shameless. Back then, the crown prince was one of the people who wanted Jingyu dead the most. If Jingyu was alive, his position as the crown prince would be unstable. Back then, many people thought that the crown prince had framed Jingyu, but he couldn't produce any evidence. Now, he said that he wanted to seek justice for Jingyu. He was just looking for an excuse to kill his father. Ha ha ha, do you really think that you can kill me today? This is the palace, my territory. I have just sent out the news that the army will be here soon. Today, I will kill all of you. All of you must die. The Great Void Sacred Emperor roared crazily. He wanted to kill everyone at the scene. Anyone who knew about this had to die. Chapter 35-37. The Great Void Saint Emperor had completely lost his mind. He wanted to kill everyone present. He still had a trump card and a foundation. This was the Imperial Palace, and there was a group of Imperial Guards, all of whom were experts. Furthermore, the so-called foundation of the Imperial Palace could not only consist of the two black-robed elders. There were many more quasi-emperor experts. As long as these people arrived, he could turn the tables and kill the crown prince, Lu Ming, and Kong Shishue. However, in the next moment, boom! Boom! A terrifying explosion came from the Imperial Palace. A bright sword light shot into the sky. At the same time, a divine dragon could be seen piercing through the clouds. Its aura was extremely terrifying. At the same time, there was a deafening battle cry. You've also bribed the Bone Sword tribe and the Dragonman tribe. The Great Void Saint Emperor's expression changed drastically as he stared at the Crown Prince. In the Taishu dynasty, there were some ancient families that had existed for even longer than the Taishu dynasty. For example, the Bone Sword tribe and the Dragonman tribe. The Great Void Saint Emperor knew very well that these ancient families had quasi-emperors. The Sword Light and Divine Dragon figure just now were quasi-emperors. Not only that, but more than half of the Imperial Guards have also fallen into my hands. If I wasn't confident, how would I dare to attack? The Crown Prince sneered. At this moment, a figure rushed out from the depths of the Imperial Palace. It was a middle-aged man in a black robe. His attire was very similar to the bald black-robed elder and the green-haired black-robed elder. This black-robed man was extremely fast, and the aura he emitted was that of a quasi-emperor. However, there were two people chasing after the black-robed elder. These two people were quasi-emperors from the Bone Sword tribe and the Dragonman tribe. In an instant, the black-robed man appeared not far from the Great Void Saint Emperor. Zhu Yan, why are you alone? The Great Void Saint Emperor asked. Saint Emperor, the others have all left. They've betrayed us. The black-robed man shouted and came to the Saint Emperor's side. What? The Great Void Saint Emperor's expression changed drastically, revealing a look of despair. Behind them, the Bone Sword tribe and the Dragonman tribe had arrived. Together with the Crown Prince and the others, they surrounded the Great Void Saint Emperor and the others. Old man, you're already so old. Why aren't you dead yet? You want to use the twin stones to live another life? Dream. Today, I'll send you on your way. The Crown Prince roared. He couldn't wait any longer. The Crown Prince was keenly aware that the reserves of the imperial household were far greater than this. There was no time to lose. He had to kill the Sage Emperor first. In the next moment, the Army King, the Imperial Advisor, the bald black-robed elder, and the experts of the Bone Sword tribe and the Dragon Human tribe, a total of 5 quasi-emperors, joined forces to attack the Taishu Saint Emperor. On the Great Void Sage Emperor's side, there were only 3 quasi-emperors, the 6th prince, the green-haired black-robed elder, and the black-robed man. As for the Sage Emperor himself, he had been severely injured and barely had a tenth of his strength left. With so many quasi-emperors fighting, the scene was earth-shattering. Even though countless runes appeared on the ground and blocked the terrifying force, the entire Great Illusionary Divine Capital still shook violently as if it was about to explode. Let's retreat. In the starry skies, Lu Ming spoke. They retreated continuously, retreating far away to watch from afar. Kong Shishua and a few others also retreated far away, not far from Lu Ming and the others. Boom! The Great Illusionary Divine Capital shook. Terrifying divine light burst out, rushing into the depths of the starry skies. The scene was extremely terrifying. In the end, the Crown Prince's side had the absolute upper hand. They had 5 quasi-emperors, while the Taishu Saint Emperor only had 3. After exchanging more than 10 blows, the 6th prince and the other 2 were forced to retreat. The Taishu Saint Emperor roared as he unleashed his remaining strength. The divine power in his body burned like flames. After exchanging a blow with the Imperial Advisor, he was still severely injured. As he retreated, he vomited large mouthfuls of blood. His injuries had worsened. At this moment, the 6th prince and the green-haired black-robed elder looked at each other and nodded silently. Then, they suddenly retreated and rushed into the starry skies. They had actually escaped without a fight. Traitor! The Taishu Saint Emperor roared in despair. The Crown Prince and the others' eyes flickered, but they did not pursue. Killing the Sage Emperor was the most important thing now. Old man, you have been betrayed. Die! Ha ha ha! The Crown Prince laughed maniacally as the Imperial Advisor and the others charged towards the Taishu Saint Emperor. While the Crown Prince and the Sage Emperor were fighting, the people from the Heavenly King residence and the Marquis residence had already seized the opportunity to retreat and disappear from the Taishu Saint capital. It was too dangerous to stay. No matter if the Crown Prince or the Imperial Advisor won, who knew if they would attack them? If they did not leave now, when would they leave? Your Majesty, I will advance and retreat with you. The black-robed man was very loyal. He stood in front of the Sage Emperor, but he was only one person. The result was already decided. Boom! The Imperial Advisor's punch blew a large hole in his chest. Then, the Army King's spear pierced through the void and pierced through his heart. In the next instant, the Bone Sword Race's bone sword sliced through the air and beheaded the black-robed man. A quasi-emperor had fallen. Only the Taishu Saint Emperor was left. You bastard! How dare you! You will die a horrible death. The Taishu Saint Emperor stared at the Crown Prince like a madman. The one who will die a horrible death is you. Old man, you have already lived for 10 stellar years. What else do you want? Can't you just peacefully wait for your death? Do I have to take this step? You forced me to do this. The Crown Prince's face was ferocious. His killing intent was as cold as a knife. Kill. Finally, the Crown Prince gave the order. The Imperial Advisor and the others stepped forward. 5 attacks were launched at the Sage Emperor. Even if the Taishu Saint Emperor was at his peak, he would only die under the attacks of 5 quasi-emperors, let alone now. The Taishu Saint Emperor roared unwillingly. Under the 5 attacks, the Taishu Saint Emperor turned into ashes. A Sage Emperor of a generation had fallen in the hands of his own son. Ha ha ha. The Crown Prince laughed loudly after killing the Taishu Saint Emperor. From now on, the Taishu dynasty was his. Wait. In the next instant, the Crown Prince calmed down and looked at a place. Because there was still someone there who had not left. The second prince. At this time, the second prince had not left. He sat there with a smile, as if he did not know what had happened. Second brother, you actually did not take the opportunity to slip away. Huh, it seems like you also want to die. The Crown Prince sneered and revealed a look of ecstasy. Originally, after killing the Taishu Saint Emperor, the second prince was a big problem for him. He did not expect the second prince to still be here. Moreover, there was no expert by his side. Crown Prince, be careful. I will go test him. The Imperial Advisor said. His body moved, and he rushed toward the second prince. Then, he grabbed at the second prince. Without any suspense, the Imperial Advisor grabbed the second prince's neck. The second prince did not retaliate. No, this is not the second prince. This is a fake. The Imperial Advisor shouted. Suddenly, with a boom, a dazzling divine light shot out from the second prince's body and then exploded. A terrifying force bombarded the Imperial Advisor's body. The Imperial Advisor was forced to retreat. Chapter 35-38. Second Prince suddenly exploded. A terrifying power engulfed the Imperial Preceptor. This power was extremely terrifying. Even a 9th-level Divine Lord existence might be blown to death if they were careless. The destructive force engulfed the Grand Master. The Grand Master's face changed, and he immediately set up layers of defense. The Grand Master was pushed back a few hundred meters. Although he managed to block the attack, he was in a sorry state with many injuries on his body. The second prince had been reduced to ashes. Good job, second brother. So the real person isn't here at all. You set up this trap to kill me? The Crown Prince's eyes were cold. Obviously, the second prince wasn't here at all. The second prince from before was a fake. He was a puppet with a terrifying force in his body. If the Crown Prince was the one who attacked just now, he would be in danger. Lu Ming and the group, who were a distance away, saw everything clearly. Let's go. Lu Ming said. He led Tian, Giant Bear, Holy Thousand Heavenly King, and the rest out of the place. Kong Shishue and the rest also left. The Crown Prince looked at the starry sky and didn't give chase. Firstly, Lu Ming and the rest were far enough away that the Crown Prince might not be able to catch up. Secondly, even if they caught up, Lu Ming and the rest were very powerful. If they fought with all their might, the Crown Prince might suffer some losses. The most important thing now was to stabilize the situation and control the Taishu sacred capital. Moreover, the second prince wasn't here, which was a big problem for the Crown Prince. The Crown Prince led his men into the depths of the palace. Lu Ming and the rest soon left the Taishu sacred capital and appeared in the starry sky. Old Heavenly King, thank you for helping us again. Lu Ming cupped his fists and thanked Holy Thousand Heavenly King. I just happened to arrive. I didn't expect something like this to happen. Sigh. Holy Thousand Heavenly King sighed. It seems like the Taishu dynasty is going to change completely. From what the Crown Prince said, it seems like the Saint Emperor found the twin stones and wanted to live a second life. That's why the Crown Prince took the opportunity to rebel. However, the second prince isn't here and he set up a trap. Obviously, he expected this. Everything is very complicated. Blue Merchant said. The second prince may look gentle on the surface, but he's actually very scheming. Everything that happened today must have something to do with the second prince. Otherwise, how could he have predicted it in advance? I'm afraid that the Taishu dynasty is going to fall into chaos soon. Then, the old Heavenly King looked at Lu Ming and asked, Lu Ming, what do you plan to do next? Let's return to the Heavenly Chaos Star Zone and observe the situation. Lu Ming said. Originally, Jing Yu's case had been completely overturned. Jing Yu's innocence had been cleared, and he could have left. However, there was still no news of his parents, so he couldn't leave. He had to find his parents. All right. We'll return to the Thousand Saints Heavenly King's residence first to gather our men to deal with the upcoming changes. Lu Ming, if you need anything, send someone to contact us at any time. The Holy Thousandth Elder said. Thank you, old Heavenly King. Lu Ming thanked him again. The old Heavenly King's words clearly indicated that he was on his side. After that, Lu Ming parted ways with the Holy Thousandth Elder and the rest. He brought Tian and the rest back to the Heavenly Chaos Star Zone. On a barren planet south of the Taishu Holy Capital, a few figures stood quietly. The person leading them was the second prince of the Taishu Holy Emperor. Behind him were three people. Two of them were dressed in black robes. They looked exactly the same as the bald old man in the black robe and the green-haired old man in the black robe. At that moment, ripples appeared in the void. Then, two figures appeared in the sky. They were the sixth Wuxia and the green-haired old man in the black robe. The two figures flashed and appeared in front of the second prince. They cupped their fists at the same time. Second prince. Sixth uncle, Senior Gu, you may rise. How's the situation? The second prince asked hurriedly. Of course, he was asking about the Taishu Holy Capital. As you expected, the Crown Prince has made his move. The Holy Emperor has been killed, but the Crown Prince is still alive. The sixth Wuxia said. As expected, that's enough. Shocking murderous intent flashed in the second prince's eyes. However, there are some changes in the process. It's about Lu Ming, the sixth Wuxia said. The sixth Wuxia said. Lu Ming? The second prince looked puzzled. That's right. Immediately, the sixth prince briefly recounted what had happened. I can't believe that Lu Ming is Jing Yu's successor. Moreover, he has so many experts with him. Interesting, interesting. Ha ha ha, the heavens are on my side. The second prince laughed loudly. He was not angry when he learned that Lu Ming had so many experts with him. Instead, he was delighted. Return to the Saint Origin starfield and announce to the world that the Crown Prince has committed treason and killed his father. The heavens will not tolerate this. I want to suppress him and get rid of this treacherous person. The second prince said coldly. Then, in a flash, they left the place. After Lu Ming, Giant Bear, Yi Tian, and the others returned to the Heavenly Chaos starfield, they began to send people to pay close attention to the Taishu dynasty. At the same time, he asked Yi Tian to return to the barbarian tribe and mobilize their experts to support him. Meanwhile, Lu Ming stayed on the Hidden Dragon Star and paid close attention to the Taishu dynasty's movements. Not long after, news came in one after another. The Crown Prince had occupied the Taishu sacred capital. With the Taishu sacred capital as the core, he occupied a large territory. The second prince announced to the world in the Saint Origin starfield that the Crown Prince's crimes had been exposed. At the same time, he called on all the people of the Taishu dynasty to suppress the Crown Prince. For a time, the Taishu dynasty was in a state of turmoil. Everyone knew that the Taishu dynasty would soon usher in an earth-shattering war. The second prince and the Crown Prince would fight for the throne of the sacred emperor. The winner would become the new sacred emperor, while the loser would be killed. Therefore, all the clans were making careful choices. This was a huge gamble. Those who lost would face serious consequences. Of course, there were some who wanted to remain neutral and stay out of it, but they were only a minority. The major clans began to make their choices. Some joined the Crown Prince's side, while others joined the second prince's. For example, the Nine Sabers Heavenly King Palace, the Nine Serenities Heavenly King Palace, and the Nine Sabers Heavenly King Palace, which were closer to the Saint Origin starfield, all joined the second prince's side. The Thousand Saints Heavenly King Palace chose to remain neutral. Lu Ming also chose to remain neutral and wait to see what would happen. However, there were obviously some who did not want Lu Ming to remain neutral. On this day, there was news that the second prince had come to visit. Lu Ming's eyes flashed. The second prince had come to visit him in person? Yes. Lu Ming said. On the Hidden Dragon Star, in a large hall, the second prince walked in with 3 people. It's them. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. 2 of them were the 6th king and the green-haired old man in a black robe. This second prince is not simple at all. Lu Ming thought. The 6th king and the green-haired old man in a black robe had fled without a fight. Now, it seemed that they had done it on purpose. They did not want to fight seriously at all. They were just putting on a show. Chapter 35-39. What brings you here today, second prince? Lu Ming asked, even though he already knew the answer. He knew that the second prince must have found him because of his strength and wanted him to join the second prince's camp. Lu Ming, your strength has exceeded my expectations. The second prince smiled. You flatter me, second prince. Tell me why you're here. Lu Ming said. Alright, I'll get straight to the point. I believe you already know about the situation in the Taishu dynasty. I want to fight against the Crown Prince and I need your help. The second prince went straight to the point. This is a problem between you and the Crown Prince. Please forgive me, Lu Ming, for not being able to interfere. Lu Ming refused immediately. Of course, he refused. He couldn't be bothered to get involved in this kind of thing. The second prince's expression didn't change at all when Lu Ming refused. He had a smile on his face as if he knew that Lu Ming would reject him. Lu Ming, don't be in a hurry to reject me. Why don't you take a look at this first? The second prince smiled faintly and took out a jade talisman. The jade talisman glowed and an image appeared in the air. In the image, there was a courtyard. Two figures were sitting at a stone table in the middle of the courtyard. They seemed to be talking about something with a frown on their faces. Lu Ming's heart trembled wildly. This was because these two figures were his parents. Lu Yuntian and Li Ping. Boom! Lu Ming's body emitted a violent aura and shocking killing intent. Beside him, Zhu Xiong and the others also emitted a shocking aura. So you're the one who tricked my parents? Lu Ming said coldly. He stared at the second prince with an icy gaze. Tricked? I only invited them to my residence as guests. Look, they're living well. I didn't mistreat them. The second prince looked calm and wasn't afraid at all. Although he knew that Lu Ming was very powerful, he wasn't afraid at all. Not only because he had 3 quasi-emperors with him, but also because Lu Ming's parents were in his hands. Lu Ming didn't dare to touch him. Of course, what the second prince did not know was that there was only one quasi-emperor beside Lu Ming. If my parents lose a single hair, I won't let you off. Lu Ming's voice was extremely cold. He really did not expect that it was the second prince who had tricked his parents away. He had always thought that it was the crown prince. He had even suspected other forces that had a grudge against him, such as the 9 Nether Heavenly King Mansion or the Lan family. He had never expected it to be the second prince. Previously, the second prince had spoken up for him several times. Now, it seemed that the second prince's schemes were so deep that it made one's hair stand on end. Clearly, Cui Wei was one of the second prince's people. When he first entered the Void Academy, the second prince sent Cui Wei to approach him. They had already started planning for it. As long as you cooperate with me, your parents will be fine. The second prince smiled. All right, I'll cooperate with you. Let my parents go. Lu Ming said coldly. If I release your parents now, what if you go back on your word? Let's wait until the crown prince is dead. The second prince still maintained his smile. Lu Ming's face was unusually cold. However, since his parents were in the hands of the second prince, he could only agree. In 3 months, I will launch an attack on the great illusionary saint capital. During this time, you can mobilize your forces. The second prince continued. After speaking, he stood up and walked out. After a few steps, he stopped and looked at Lu Ming. Actually, I originally wanted Cui Wei to take your parents away because I thought that you had amazing talent and might be useful in the future. I never expected that you would have so many experts by your side. Don't you think that even the heavens are helping me? Ha ha ha. After speaking, the second prince laughed and left. Scratch. Lu Ming clenched his fists. His eyes were filled with murderous intent. However, he could only agree to the second prince's request. After rescuing his parents, he would settle the score seriously. It's time for the undying demon to strike. Lu Ming muttered. Immediately, Lu Ming sent a message to Yi Tian, asking him to prepare the experts of the barbarian tribe. After that, Lu Ming went to the secret place of the Saint Demon Imperial Court. When he arrived at the secret place of the Saint Demon Imperial Court, he saw the Undying Demon King. What was your cultivation at your peak? Lu Ming asked the Undying Demon King. Do you still need to ask? I can survive from the Saint Demon Imperial Court until now. Do you think that a divine emperor can do the same? The Undying Demon King looked at Lu Ming with disdain. However, deep in his eyes, there was a deep shock. It had not been long since they last met, but Lu Ming had reached the peak of the Divine King realm. Moreover, the energy in his body was shocking and could explode with terrifying power. Genius, an extremely terrifying genius. When he was young, he was not as powerful as Lu Ming. You're a divine emperor. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. If the Undying Demon King was a divine emperor, there was no need to fight him. He could just kill the crown prince and the second prince. Ahem, I used to be a divine emperor. However, I was severely injured and sealed for so many years. My vitality was greatly damaged. Although I've recovered a little, I'm only a boundary emperor. The undying demon king smiled awkwardly. Boundary emperor? Lu Ming was stunned. Boy, don't underestimate me. Although I've only recovered to a boundary emperor, ordinary boundary emperors are nothing in front of me. The undying demon king said proudly. There were other divine emperors in the Saint Demon Imperial Court? Lu Ming asked curiously. Yes, the Saint Demon Imperial Court was very powerful. It was a true universe-level force. Today's barbarian tribe and Tianyi sacred dynasty were actually split from the Saint Demon Imperial Court. However, the divine emperor of the Saint Demon Imperial Court was killed by me before he could seal me. However, I was severely injured by him. Otherwise, do you think those people could seal me? The undying demon king sneered. I see. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. It seemed that the Saint Demon Imperial Court was indeed powerful in its heyday. There was more than one divine emperor. Today's barbarian tribe, Tianyi sacred dynasty, and Taishu dynasty all belonged to the Saint Demon Imperial Court. After chatting for a while, Lu Ming asked the undying demon king to gather all the experts of the Saint Demon Imperial Court and go out with him. The undying demon king was set up by the demon sealing array by the bone demon. Even if he was a divine emperor, it was useless. He could only obey. This made Lu Ming even more curious about the origin of the bone demon. According to the bone demon, Jingyu had adventured in an ancient ruin and obtained the battle character secret art and the universe myriad Dao art. Of course, the bone demon was also included. However, when Lu Ming asked about the origin of the bone demon kept silent. He said that Lu Ming's cultivation was too low and it was better for him not to know. However, the bone demon's endless means made Lu Ming very curious. He speculated that the origin of the bone demon must be amazing. Soon after, the undying demon king gathered all the experts of the Saint Demon Imperial Court. Even many old monsters who were in seclusion were pulled up by him. To Lu Ming's surprise, the Saint Demon Imperial Court had 2 quasi-emperors in addition to the undying demon king. No wonder the Saint Demon Imperial Court dared to trouble the Taishu dynasty. They were not weak. Chapter 35-40. The stronger the Saint Devil dynasty was, the happier Lu Ming would be. Anyway, if he controlled the undying demon, it meant that he controlled the Saint Devil dynasty. If the people of the Saint Devil dynasty obeyed the undying demon, it meant that they obeyed Lu Ming. Although the people of the Saint Devil dynasty were curious why the undying demon obeyed Lu Ming, they did not dare to ask. This time, after the battle, when we win, I will carve out a territory for the people of the Saint Devil dynasty to live in. You don't have to hide here anymore. This was Lu Ming's promise to the Saint Devil dynasty. The people of the Saint Devil dynasty were looking forward to it. It had been 2 months since Lu Ming brought the people of the Saint Devil dynasty to the Hidden Dragon Star. Yi Tian had already sent news that the barbarian army had set off through the wormhole. They would rush to the Taishu dynasty at the fastest speed. At this time, an uninvited guest came to visit Lu Ming. It was the imperial concubine, Kong Shishue. Lu Ming did not blame the imperial concubine. He only sympathized with her. Although Jingyu was indirectly killed by the imperial concubine, Kong Shishue was the victim from the beginning to the end. Senior Kong, why are you looking for me? Lu Ming asked. Kong Shishue was Jingyu's generation. Lu Ming should address her as senior. Lu Ming, given the current situation, what are your plans? If you need my help, I will do my best. Kong Shishue asked. Thank you, Senior Kong, but I have agreed to join forces with the second prince. Lu Ming said without hiding anything. Join forces with the second prince? Kong Shishue's face changed. She said, "The second prince is very scheming. He has been hiding for many years. If you join forces with him and defeat the crown prince, I am afraid he will not let you go. I have no choice. My parents are in his hands." Lu Ming shook his head and sighed. "Your parents are in the hands of the second prince?" Kong Shishua frowned. She pondered for a while and said, "I might be able to help you save your parents." "What? Really?" Lu Ming exclaimed, his eyes shining. "I haven't been the Sage Emperor's concubine all these years for nothing. Not only have I secretly moved my family away, I've also planted people around the Sage Emperor, the Crown Prince, the Second Prince, and the others. I can mobilize them at any time. Right now, the Second Prince's attention is completely focused on the Crown Prince. When the battle with the Crown Prince begins, all the experts will be transferred away. At that time, my men will be able to rescue your parents." Kong Shishua said. Good, good. Then I'll leave Lu Ming to Senior Qian." Lu Ming cupped his fists deeply. "You're welcome. You're Jing Yu's successor, and I owe Jing Yu too much." Kong Shishua sighed. There was a complicated look in her eyes, as if she was reminiscing about the past. After a while, Kong Shishua said, "I'll go back and make arrangements. You pretend to cooperate with the second prince first. Once I rescue your parents, I'll send you a message." "Okay." Lu Ming nodded. After a short discussion, Kong Shishua left. "Lan Shu, the Netherworld Mountain is sealed in the small world. How do we unlock the seal and bring it out?" After Kong Shishua left, Lu Ming asked Blue Merchant. Now that the truth of Jing Yu's case had come to light, it was time to release the Netherworld Mountain. Back then, it was a quasi-emperor who sealed the Netherworld Mountain. Therefore, to break the seal of the Netherworld Mountain, one must be at least at the quasi-emperor realm. Moreover, the Netherworld Mountain is in the spirit space. Once its energy leaks, the spirit space will be easily destroyed. Therefore, to successfully bring the Netherworld Mountain out, I'm afraid that one must be stronger than a quasi-emperor. Blue Merchant said. Back then, the Taishu Saint Emperor was really ruthless. He had to find someone stronger than a quasi-emperor to bring the Netherworld Mountain out. Where could he find such a person in the Taishu dynasty? However, there was a candidate now, and that was the Immortal Demon. The Immortal Demon was a divine emperor at his peak, but now he had fallen to a quasi-emperor. Could he do it? Immediately, Lu Ming called the Immortal Demon over and told him about it. "Don't worry, leave it to me. Although I've fallen to the quasi-emperor realm, I still have my comprehension and control. I'm not comparable to an ordinary quasi-emperor. This is a piece of cake." The Immortal Demon was very confident. "Okay, let's go," Lu Ming said. Immediately, they went to the chaotic galaxy and the primordial realm of the heaven realm. With an existence like the Immortal Demon leading them, their speed was too fast. They crossed the starry sky at an astonishing speed. Not long after, they arrived at the entrance of the primordial realm of the heaven realm. "Demon King, you have to be careful. Don't destroy the spirit space," Lu Ming warned seriously. With the Immortal Demon's realm, a strand of energy from a random pore could crush the primordial realm of the heaven realm and destroy the spirit space. The primordial realm of the heaven realm was the place where Lu Ming was born. It was Lu Ming's hometown. He didn't want it to be destroyed. "Don't worry, I have perfect control of my own power. I won't leak any energy. In fact, not to mention a divine emperor, even a quasi-emperor can freely enter and exit all the spirit space," the Immortal Demon said. When one reached the quasi-emperor realm, one could perfectly control their own power. They could restrain all their power and enter the spirit space like an ordinary person. It would not cause any harm to the spirit space. Of course, if he went berserk, he might be able to destroy a spirit space with a single breath. Okay, then I'll leave it to you. Lu Ming nodded. Wait here. The Immortal Demon King said. His figure flashed and directly rushed into the primordial realm of the Heaven Realm. Lu Ming and Blue Merchant waited. The two of them didn't have to wait for too long. It was only a few minutes before the Immortal Demon King's figure flashed and reappeared. In his hand, he was holding a small mountain. Lu Ming was overjoyed when he saw it. It was the Netherworld Mountain. Let's go to the starry sky. Lu Ming said. They came to the starry sky. The Immortal Demon King waved his hand, and the Netherworld Mountain flew out. Then, it rapidly expanded. In the end, it turned into a huge mountain that floated in the starry sky. Of course, the Netherworld Mountain was not particularly big. It was only equivalent to a spirit space. It was far smaller than a planet in the primitive universe. There were also countless countries and cultivators living on the Netherworld Mountain. At this moment, countless cultivators on the Netherworld Mountain looked at the sky in shock. They felt that the sky had changed, as if the heavens and the earth had been changed. Then, an unbelievably rich divine chi surged into every corner of the Netherworld Mountain. The people of the Netherworld Mountain were about to go crazy. Oh my God, divine chi. It's all divine chi. Such rich divine chi. Compared to the divine chi in the past, it's like heaven and earth. I feel like I'm about to break through. With this divine chi, I can even break through to the realm of the gods. Shocked roars came from all over the Netherworld Mountain. In the depths of the Netherworld Mountain, on the Netherworld Island, a figure flashed and appeared above the island. If Lu Ming were here, he would definitely recognize him at a glance. He was White Fang. Chapter 35-41. Divine Chi. Also, the laws of heaven and earth have changed. This is the primitive universe. Lu Ming has succeeded. Baya muttered as his body trembled slightly. His eyes were filled with excitement. He did not expect Lu Ming to succeed so quickly. Outside Yellow Spring Mountain. Demon King, release the seal. Lu Ming said. Leave it to me. Undying Demon King nodded and waved his hands. Streams of Demon Dao divine power turned into runes and flew into Yellow Spring Mountain. Immediately, Yellow Spring Mountain was filled with light, forming a layer of resistance. This was the seal above. However, this seal had been set up for many years. With Undying Demon King's help, it did not resist for long before it was broken. Boom! 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 The moment the seal was broken, some terrifying auras burst out from the depths of Yellow Spring Mountain. Powerful auras soared into the sky and rushed into the vast starry sky. These are 9th level and 8th level divine lords. Lu Ming was shocked. With his current vision, he could naturally sense the specific realm of these auras. 1 9th level divine lord, 3 8th level divine lords, and 6 7th level divine lords. In addition, there were quite a number of 7th level divine lords. This was an absolutely terrifying force. Lu Ming did not expect that there was such a terrifying force sealed in the depths of Yellow Spring Island. Back then, he did not sense it at all. Swoosh! Swoosh! In the next moment, beams of divine light flew out from Yellow Spring Mountain. The divine light converged and figures appeared. Baya. Lu Ming recognized at a glance that the person in the lead was really Baya. The 9th level divine lord was also Baya. Behind Baya was a lava giant and a snake man. Lu Ming knew all of them. Back when he entered Netherworld Island, he passed a few rounds consecutively. They were the ones who guarded the rounds. However, back then, the cultivation of the lava giant and the snake man were below the divine realm. But now, they had reached the 8th level divine lord. Lu Ming. Baiya saw Lu Ming at a glance and revealed a look of joy. Then, their eyes fell on Blue Merchant. Master Lan. Baiya, Naga, and the others were overjoyed. They quickly cupped their fists at Blue Merchant. White Fang, we finally meet after so many years. Blue Merchant was also full of smiles. White Fang. Lu Ming also went over to say hello. Young master, did you succeed? White Fang asked in anticipation. Success. Lu Ming nodded. The smiles on the faces of White Fang and the others became even brighter. They had been waiting for this day for far too long. Now that they heard that they had succeeded, it was hard for them to hide their excitement. After a long while, they finally calmed down. Young master, you are indeed worthy of being the successor of the prince. It has only been a few years, but your cultivation has already reached the peak Divine King realm. This is beyond our expectations. White Fang sighed. Don't talk about my cultivation. What's up with your cultivation? When I saw you back then, you didn't have such a cultivation base. Lu Ming asked curiously. Young master, the ones you saw back then were not our true bodies. They were just clones formed by a wisp of divine power. Our true bodies were sealed in the depths of Yellow Spring Island and couldn't come out at all. White Fang explained. White Fang was one of the 3 great generals under Jing Yu back then. He was a 9th-level divine lord. Blue Merchant said with a smile. Lu Ming nodded. No wonder White Fang had such a cultivation base. Moreover, his cultivation base back then was too low. Compared to White Fang and the others, it was a world of difference. Therefore, he felt that the lava giant, Naga, and the others were just divine transformation realm experts with a wisp of divine power. He couldn't tell the difference at all. Young master, Teacher Lan, what happened back then? Who was the one who framed His Highness? White Fang asked. Immediately, Lan Shang briefly explained the details of what had happened. After White Fang and the others heard it, they were dumbfounded. They never thought that the mastermind behind all this was the Taishu Sage Emperor. Next, there might be a final battle. I will need your help. Lu Ming said. We'll do anything. White Fang and the others looked determined. Lu Ming, come with me. The prince left something for you in Yellow Spring Mountain. Then, White Fang said. Something? Lu Ming was curious. Then, he flew into the depths of Yellow Spring Mountain with White Fang. In a stone cave, a round ball was suspended. This round ball looked like countless petals stacked together. At this moment, White Fang waved his hand and the petals on the round ball opened up, revealing a drop of blood inside. Yes, it was a drop of blood. Back then, when the prince was heavily injured, he knew that he was going to die, so he secretly sealed his remaining power into a drop of blood and let me bring it out. This drop of blood is for you. Once you use it, you can stimulate the power left behind by the prince, allowing you to erupt with great power. However, this drop of blood can only be used once. After that, it will completely dissipate. White Fang explained. Prince Jingyu's last power? Perhaps it can be used for the final battle. Lu Ming sighed softly and kept the round ball. At this moment, the Taishu dynasty was in turmoil and was divided into 2 large camps. Countless powerful people gathered in the Taishu holy capital and formed a huge army. The second prince also gathered a huge army and set off for the Taishu holy capital. At the same time, Lu Ming also led his people and set off for the Taishu holy capital. The great illusionary saint capital was an ancient city that floated in space. At this moment, the entire Taishu holy capital was extremely bright, like a sun. This was because countless runes appeared on the walls of the Taishu holy capital. These runes formed a large formation that enveloped the Taishu holy capital. On the main city wall of the Taishu holy capital, the crown prince stood above and looked into the distance with a gloomy expression. Behind him were the Jun Wang, the imperial advisor, the quasi-emperors of the Bone Sword tribe, the quasi-emperors of the Dragon-Human tribe, the bald, black-robed youth, and the commander-in-chief of the annihilating 13 barbarian armies. This person was also a quasi-emperor and his status was not lower than the Jun Wang. There were a total of 6 quasi-emperors lined up in a row. Behind them were other powerful people, such as the heavenly kings of the heavenly king palaces and the family heads of the Taishu holy capital families, such as the Lan family head. These people were all powerful people and their cultivation was above the 7th level of the Divine Lord realm. They were also looking into the distant sky. In the starry sky, there were countless battleships. This was the army that the second prince had gathered. On the right side of the army, there was another army. This army belonged to Lu Ming. He had brought all the powerful people under him. In addition, there were also powerful people from the Heavenly King Palace who had joined Lu Ming. In this way, Lu Ming had 5 quasi-emperors on his side, including the Heavenly King Qiansheng. Of course, the immortal Demon King was not an ordinary quasi-emperor. However, when Holy Heavenly King saw Undying Demon King and the rest, he was really shocked. After Lu Ming's explanation, he finally understood what was going on. However, he was also extremely shocked. Lu Ming had even subdued the powerful people of the Saint Demon's imperial court. He knew that he had underestimated Lu Ming. Jinglin, you killed the emperor and your father. You tried to usurp the throne. The heavens will not tolerate this. Today is the day you die. The second prince stood at the forefront. His voice traveled hundreds of millions of miles and reached the Taishu holy capital. Only a 7th-level Divine Lord Realm cultivator could transmit his voice so far. Ordinary Divine Lords could not do it. Father framed Brother Jingyu. His methods are too despicable. Moreover, he went crazy and wanted to eliminate the various major palaces. I had no choice but to follow the wishes of the people. Now that father has passed away, I am the crown prince. I should be the new sacred emperor. Second brother, you sent people to attack me. Now you have committed treason. The crown prince's voice was also heard. Although everyone knew what they had done, they still had to make it clear that they were not in the wrong. You murdered father. Do you think you are fit to be the new sacred emperor? Today, I will suppress you on behalf of father. Attack! The second prince's voice was heard. Then, his body flashed and he returned to a warship. You're tuning into the Xiaofan's Wuxia Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.